day, another enlightenment. Peace unto you. Peace unto you. Who wants to be enlightened in 3 days? Who would like to be enlightened in 3 days? Oh my goodness. God has given us something wonderful. I can enlighten you in 3 days. Matter of fact, I will enlighten you in 3 days. Walk with me for 3 days, you shall be enlightened. I help students and teachers on the spiritual path, atheists who are looking for the unexplained power of old, humans who aspire to be like Buddha, Jesus, and Horus, soul spirits who aspire to fully transition into God the Source, totally reach their goals, aspirations, and enlightenment in 3 days, no more, no less. Click the link in the bio to get the book or ebook that will bring forth that course, that 3-day course, as well as everything you need in 22 pages. Yes, in 3 days. I have testimonies. If you watch my, I've been doing this for years. But if you watch my most recent video, I just posted it before I went live. At the end of that video, I have the testimonies. I have been doing this for years. I will enlighten. Ain't no can. I said can in the video to be sweet. I will enlighten you in 3 days. I tell people, walk with me for 3 days. If you want to be Christ consciousness, 3 days, that's it. No more, no less. You want to be like Horus? 3 days, no more, no less. I actually astral projected in beings. They told me that I live a life like Horus. I live a life like Buddha and Jesus as well. But in 3 days, I have a course that is within an ebook. And I've been working that. Can we talk about Bitcoin? Well, in 3 days, I can get you rich. In 3 days, you'll be more rich than Bitcoin could ever provide. I've been doing this for years, and I've finally been called to make an ebook. I am not an author by any means. I've never made another book before. But on July 1st, God, the Source, told me to make a book. And the second day, miraculously got made, July 2nd. And in this book includes everything that I've been teaching people since I was 13 years old. Everything. And in 3 days, I will guarantee you, you will have miracles pop up in your life. You will have intense lucid dreams. You will start to see spirits and auras and colors. 3 days. There is no other teacher, no other soul on this planet that can offer you what I can offer in 3 days. I woke up today and I was like, hey, yo, God, I think I'm slacking on myself. Because I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. I'm not no internet teacher. There's a person that sometimes comes in my lives. His name is Jeff Miller. He actually convinced me to take my teaching to the internet. I've been doing this in real life. This is the difference. Hold on. Yes, I can enlighten you in 3 days and I have the proof and testimonies. Let's set that aside real quick. I'm not no internet teacher. I've been doing this in real life, opening my home up to strangers, friends, and family, holding what we call gatherings, rituals, ceremony, talks, exchanging testimonies, exchanging how we can better ourselves. I've been doing this for years. And then one of the members of our gathering, because I actually had a group chat, anytime someone says they're interested, because I will always tell people, walk with me for 3 days. This is before I made the 3-day course, so y'all can follow what's going on. Before I made the 3-day course, I would just tell people, walk with me for 3 days, I guarantee you will have something spiritual happen in your life. And people, they'll bite. And they'll come to my gatherings in my real life. They'll come to my home in my real life. And in 3 days, yeah, it happens. And then one member, his name is Jeff Miller. He actually sometimes comes in my live because we live in the same city, obviously. And he said, yo, you're doing people a disservice because you're performing miracles for us. But this type of stuff should be for the world. I didn't listen for Jeff Miller. I didn't listen to him for about 2 to 3 months. And then after 2 to 3 months of being hard-headed, I said, all right, I caved. I took my teachings to TikTok, and in 8 months, you know, in numerology, the number 8 is abundance, is of receiving abundance, all forms of abundance, currency, material, all of it. In 8 months, and I counted, you can scroll down. You can scroll down in my page. You can see from when I started and when my first video went viral, it was 8 months. I went viral. And I was like, oh, Jeff, you were right. I'm going to get to your comments. But in conclusion, one, I am not no internet teacher. I've been doing this in real life since I was 13 years old. I was initiated to be a medicine man, a part of the tribe of Siksika in the astral world. Yes, I know how to speak the language. That means, hello, how you doing, my friend? My sister is a medicine woman. My mother can read palms and have all these energy. Our bloodline is pure. I woke up today and I was like, God, I've been slacking on myself. I've been doing this for how many years, God? I was in the astral world last night, and I was talking to God, and I was like, oh snap, Jeff is here. Jeff is here. What did I tell you? What did I tell y'all? I just spoke it into existence. What did I just tell y'all? Jeff, type in the comments. Didn't you tell me when you came to my gatherings in real life to take my teachings online? Didn't you tell me that? Wasn't we performing miracles in real life? 33, you see Jeff, wasn't we performing miracles in real life and you told me to take my teachings to... Yes, sir, you see him. The proof, I spoke it. It's here. That just excited me. Hold on, let me read y'all comments so I can go back into the story. But the fact that Jeff actually came, he is the reason I'm here online. He will always be in my good graces. I was doing this miracles and all this magic in real life before I made the 3-day course to give to y'all. Click link in bio, click link in bio, click link in bio. Before I made the 3-day course to give to y'all, I was telling people walk with me for 3 days, inviting them into my home, and we were performing magic and miracles in real life. I got targeted because of it, like real life targeted. I'm gonna get to that story, but let me read y'all comments and we're gonna get straight to it. So new here, Adriana, peace unto you. Adriana, peace unto you. Thank you. The fact that you're here lets us know that something in your soul is yearning to have your life change. Click the link in the bio and get that ebook. My only ebook. I do not aspire to be an author. I do not aspire to be an author. God gave me on July 1st all the tools required to get a course for you. In 3 days, you will be enlightened. You will be broken free from the matrix in 3 days. Let me read your comments. Carl, I can't really imagine or visualize. Can I still do astral projection? Carl, yes, you can still do astral projection. In 3 days, once you take the 3-day course, and it's within the book, the whole book, you read the whole ebook. I actually have testimonies in my most recent posted video. I have testimonies of people. I've been doing this for years, and some of the testimonies are 2 years old. And I've been doing it for so long. But once you complete the 3-day course, once you read the book and you integrate all of the knowledge, what happens is your frequency immediately raises to Jesus' frequency, to Buddha's frequency, to Horus's frequency. Immediately. So then the only thing that's going to stop you from reaching an astral projection is yourself. Because you're going to have the frequency. Most people, they can't astral project because their frequency don't match it. Your frequency does not match the gift you are trying to get. But when you take my 3-day course, in 3 days, you will be like Jesus. In 3 days, you will be like Buddha. In 3 days, you will be like Horus. Your frequency will raise. You can do any gift you like. Any gift. Any gift. If one has known of thyself, they can do that as well. No. That is what a conscious loner says. A conscious loner. Anyone can go within and recognize that their frequency is the same as any beloved master. That is a fact. But what people don't understand is, how do you go within? This is where teachers come in. You know, every teacher known to man, no matter how great, has always experienced a form of teacher. Like, there's something called mystery schools in ancient Kemet. A lot of people don't know about mystery schools because, you know, quite literally they're a mystery. But in ancient Kemet, there's something called mystery schools. And every powerful master has went to a mystery school in Egypt. Ancient Kemet is Egypt. So yes, Carl, the power is within you. Though that is, when you subscribe to be a human on earth, it serves for you to have direction. I can get you to enlightenment in 3 days with the proof. Click the link in bio, get the ebook. That direction is not going to be like me giving you something, and then because you're receiving it, it means that you didn't have it before. That's not what this is. My ebook, my course, is a revealing of what was already there. But if you don't know how to see clearly, you can meditate for 35 years and still not reach the level of frequency that my students have, that the members of our mystery school have. Adriana, how do we tell deities to leave? You just tell them to leave. Adriana, get my 3-day course within my ebook, click link in bio. So one thing people have to understand about deities is deities respect frequency, not your words. Deities respect frequency, not your words. If you do not know thyself, they don't have to listen to you. What I teach in the 3-day course will bring forth a commander frequency. And I actually have a story about Ra the Sun God. I used to be a student of Ra the Sun God on accident. And it came a point where me and my spirit team had to tell Ra to leave. He wouldn't leave at first, but when I stopped being scared, he was able to leave. We got Vanny. How you doing today? Peace unto you. I'm very well. I am very well. I woke up today on the right side of the bed, ready to show the world what I can do and who I am. I'm ready. Getting this excited for 75 cents is so sad. Who said I'm excited for 75 cents? Who said that? I am excited because I have the track record of enlightening souls in 3 days. I have the track record of allowing atheists to see within themselves. Again, I have the track record of allowing atheists to see within themselves the power that God the Source has put within them. I have the track record of having hundreds and hundreds upon thousands of beings receive miracles in enlightenment. That's what I'm excited for you to see what God has always been telling you. I'm not excited about TikTok donations. I'm grateful for TikTok donations. That's the difference. But I'm excited for you to go get that ebook. Click the link in the bio. That's what I'm excited about, because your life shall transform. All right, we got Ari. Ari says, targeted by who? I don't know if you're still here, but I got targeted by what people will consider they. Let me sit back. I got a little too excited. Let me center myself. So, I got targeted by beings that Hollywood typically involves themselves with. And these beings, they all wore red. They were very color coordinated. They were not Bloods though. They came because I successfully created a portal on paper. Yes, I know how to create a portal on paper with magic. And I created another one about yesterday. I actually teach it in my mystery school. It's one of the few classes that free members can get in the mystery school. It's the portal creation class. That class is so incredibly powerful. I made sure I refined the technique so you too don't get targeted. I was naive when I was doing the technique. I was the trailblazer, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just doing stuff, scribing things on paper, and something happened. So I'll tell you that story real quick, Ari, because you asked who did I get targeted by. Just know, before I tell you this story, click the link in the bio after today's class and get that ebook, because in 3 days, your life will change. In 3 days, if you really want to be on that spiritual path, like Jesus and Buddha and Horus, I got you. In 3 days, if you really want to awaken the knowledge that's within you, the power that's within you, in 3 days. If you can't dedicate the 3 days to God, don't even act like you should be on a spiritual path. But you know, the funny thing about it is, even if you don't act like you're on a spiritual path, you're still on a spiritual path, because everybody has a spirit and everybody's on a path, therefore they're on a spiritual path. But let's get into the story. So, as I said before, since I was 7 years old, I've been dabbling with the spirit world. I've been astral projecting since 7 years old. At 13 years old, a teacher named Ryan Crocker taught me how to astral project on command. That means I close my eyes, within 20 minutes to an hour, I'm out my body. Years and years after that, I would say around 18? Around 16? No, not 16. 18 for sure. 18, 19. Around 18, 19 years old, I was getting deeper in magic. Deeper in magic. Now, up to this point, I've been having my gatherings in the neighborhood. I'm talking about full-blown prayer circles. When I say I do this in real life, I am not no internet teacher. One of the members that came to our live today, named Jeff Miller, he is one of the people that came to my gatherings. I do this in real life. But because I've been raising people's vibration, and I've been performing miracles and things of that nature. And understand that when I say performing miracles, what I'm really saying is facilitating miracles. People don't really get what the word facilitating means. They understand what performing means. But truly, in truth, I'm actually facilitating miracles, because you can't perform miracles. Miracles come when you adjust your frequency to match the frequency of love. Miracles come where love is. Miracles just happen. And then you as a teacher have to act like you're not surprised. But because I've been doing all of this, I was diving deeper into magic. Well, when you are in this time, today's age, and you're trying to get into magic, you can't go to Atlantis, you can't go to Lemuria, it's too far away. You have to go to Egypt. Because what you have to understand about ancient cultures is ancient cultures do not create new things. You ever heard of the term, there is nothing new under the sun? Ancient cultures pass down knowledge from one age to another. So ancient Kemet, Egypt, is actually Atlantis, Lemuria, and all of the ancient times before that. And the knowledge of Egypt is actually adapted to the current age. And the knowledge that I bring today is adapted to this age. Click link in bio to get the ebook. So I was diving deeper into magic and studying Egypt. And I found out why Egyptians utilize symbols a lot. I actually was decoding my name, because you have to understand letters are symbols. And when I was in the process of decoding my name, I was also understanding the power of scribing and putting symbols on material. And when I was doing that, I created a portal. After I scribed 33 symbols, and I actually teach this in the class in my mystery school, so I'm not going to be teaching it here. You have to invest in your spiritual career. Go to the mystery school. This is one of the free classes. This is one of the more powerful ones. Is the free one. Just so you know how the mystery school is. But in 33 symbols, I added words next to those symbols. I hung that paper up on my wall. Walked outside. Took my walk, because I take daily walks. And on the way back to my house, every one of my friends that lived in the neighborhood I was living at didn't live there anymore. Hundreds of birds were circling in the sky. I was like, what the heck is happening? And people were calling me a different name. That's not my name. I got so scared, I just started picking up trash because I was like, I have to do something positive. This is all after I created the portal. I just started to pick up litter. When I picked up some litter on the ground and threw it away, there was a dumpster right here, and there was a tree behind the dumpster. Behind that tree, 4 to 5 people, all dressed in red, came from behind that tree. Behind that tree was a portal. It's traumatically burned in my brain. I can never forget it. Dumpster right here. Me picking up trash, throwing it in the dumpster. Behind that dumpster is like a wooden fence that's blocking the dumpster off, you know, from the kids and stuff. Behind that dumpster is a tree. Behind that tree, 4 to 5 people, all dressed in red, started to come out like a clown car. One of the people, the first person that came out, he said, "You're only doing that because you see us." I was not scared. You might be like, "Oh, were you scared up until then?" No, I was not scared up until then. I was scared until, like, at that moment. Right now, I'm fearless. I'm cool. But at that moment, when he acknowledged, like, when I was seeing this, and I was like, "No, ain't no way that's real." And he said, "You're only picking up that trash because you see us." That's when I got scared. That's when not scared isn't the word that I was. I was petrified. What the heck did I do? Then you know what I found out later. What they told me, those beings. They said, we target the ones that could be another Jesus. What? What? Come again and say what? Now, when he said, "You're only doing that because you see us," I ran back to the house. Now, I wasn't running, I was walking fast. But a fast walk and a run with me, because I walk fast already. My normal walk is somebody speed walking. So you can only imagine how fast I was walking with my speed walk. I was basically running. Walked in that door. When you open my door in the old neighborhood, when you open my door, there's steps. So this is the door. Immediately when you open the door, there's steps leading up to upstairs. My sister was at the top of the stairs. Again, remember, I created a portal in a different realm. In real life, in physicality, which I teach in my mystery school. Click the link in the bio to join the mystery school. But because I can enlighten you in 3 days, click the link in the bio to get our ebook, which includes the 3-day course that will enlighten you. I say which includes. You get much more than just the 3-day course. But remember, I'm in a different realm. So my sister already was at the top of the steps. She said, "Come on, I already prepared a spiritual bath for you." Y'all, I need y'all to understand how deep this is. I need you to understand how deep this story is. This really happened. I walked in my house. My sister was already at the top of the steps saying, "I got a spiritual bath already waiting for you. Let's go." My sister is already spiritual. She already knew I'm not her brother. You're not my brother. You jumped. And 2 beings of the same soul cannot exist in the same reality at once. So the brother that she knew was in my reality, and I was in that reality. Though we're the same soul, you have to understand how consciousness works. Consciousness splits off. Consciousness is very large. Consciousness splits off into many different versions of yourself. You have an infinite amount of versions of yourself on earth. But for human transcription, let's say there's 1,000. The moment you come out of your mother's womb, 1,000 versions of you is created. I'm talking about some as heinous as Diddy and some as holy as Jesus. Again, the moment you come out your mother's womb, there's an infinite amount of versions of you that is created. But for human transcription, let's say there's 1,000. There is a version of you that's more heinous than Diddy, and there's a version of you that's more holy than Jesus. And your consciousness, with your soul agreements before incarnation, projects itself in the reality, in the incarnation that best serves your soul agreements prior to incarnation. I learned all of this from astral projection and all of that, but I learned it even more on the spot when I created a portal to go to a different realm. When I created the portal to go to the different realm, that's when I really knew, oh, there's multiple versions of me. Because my sister, she already had the bath prepared. She already knew I wasn't her brother. I walked upstairs, I went to the bathroom. She said she had it was all these herbs and flowers and all of this in this water. She said she blessed the water to make it holy water. Because you can do that. With just your words, you can make something holy water. I got myself in my drawers. I got myself in that bath. My sister dunked me. We did a prayer. Put me back up. And remember, even though I did that spiritual bath, I was still in that reality. You have to know the power of doors. Doors are portals. That's why you hear celebrities like Kevin Hart and all these other celebrities talk about doors. You can look up on TikTok right now, Kevin Hart doors, or celebrities talking about doors, Hollywood talking about doors, and you will see montages of all of these celebrities that you think is dark, and they are dark, talking about doors because doors are powerful. I learned this from astral projection, but I also learned it firsthand in real life when I created a portal on paper. When I got baptized in this spiritual bath, I still was in that reality. I did not leave that reality until I walked through my front door, left the house, and then everything that was my original neighborhood reverted. For example, when I was walking back before I did the baptism with the spiritual bath, there was someone working on a car. It looked like a Cadillac, and it was propped up. You know that little machine thing that goes under cars, and you prop it up so somebody can slide underneath the car and work on it like the mechanic? Well, someone was working on a car, and it did not look like they were done. The spiritual bath lasted about, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. I walked out the house, because remember, the door is what will lead you back to your reality. I walked out the house, I walked through that door, I walked through that portal, and that car was gone. The car was right in front of my house. The car was gone. So that's who targeted me. It's the they that come when you are close to breaking free. I did not know what I did at the time. And honestly, I was petrified. I threw everything spiritual away. I threw the paper that I scribed everything on. I threw that away. I threw every crystal I had away. I threw every feather I had away. I threw every spiritual piece of gear I had away. I started from scratch. I said, what the heck just happened? I just created a portal. I actually did magic in real life. My sister, in this life, in this reality, in this realm, I talked to her about the situation. She didn't even know. And that's when it all really settled in me. I'm like, oh my God, I really went to a different reality. She don't even remember making me the spiritual bath. She don't even remember it. So, this is real. So I restarted from scratch. It took me about 2 to 3 months to get myself back. To back where I am, it took me about 2 to 3 months. I was petrified. And just because you leave a place, what you have to understand is there is residual energy when it comes to portals. When you leave a place, when you leave one realm to go to a different realm, there is still residual energy. So they still linger. Those beings were still following me, but instead of being this close, they were this close. That's who targeted me. Let's get to these questions. If you can read a paragraph above an 8th grade reading level, I'll cash up you. Cuss. I'm gonna call you Cuss. Cuss says, if you can read a paragraph above an 8th grade reading level, I'll cash app you. Cuss, I have something better for you. If you can get my ebook and read 22 pages front to back, you will be enlightened in 3 days. The video that I just posted, right before I went live, at the end of that video has testimonies of people taking my 3-day course. Don't take my word for it, take theirs. I have a mystery school on our 3rd year, 3rd semester. I've been doing this for 3 years online. I've been doing this since I was 13 years old in reality, or what is said to be reality. You want to enlighten? enlightenment in 3 days? You want to enlighten yourself in 3 days? You want to become a master at astral projection in 3 days? You want to lucid dream in 3 days? You want to be better than Jesus in 3 days? You want to be better than Horus in 3 days? You want to be better than Buddha in 3 days? Click link in bio, get the ebook. In that ebook includes a 3-day course that I have curated for years and mastered in this book. And the version of the 3-day course that is within that book is a improved version. It's the same text. Don't get me wrong. It's the same text that enlightened the people in all my testimonies. But when I inserted it with the rest of the 21 pages, and you read that entire book, everything clicks even more. A conscious loner says knowledge of thyself can help you with that as well. We reviewed all of that. Ari says I met all 3, Jesus, Buddha, and Horus, when I did ayahuasca journeys, but not after this. Ari, I hear about ayahuasca a lot, and the teacher that taught me at 13 years old, named Brian Cropper, he's taken ayahuasca. I've always been interested in ayahuasca. Always been interested. Always been interested. But because I've reached this frequency, I don't really think I have to take ayahuasca at this point in my life, because quite literally, I went into the astral realms and as well met Buddha, Jesus, and no exaggeration, beings in the spirit realm call me Horus. I can't confirm or deny that. I know I'm a son of God. They call me the son of God as well. But when I was in this one trial slash mission in the astral realms, I would say about a month or 2 ago, I was looking for a spiritual tool, because there was like this pantry that opened, and there was like about 4 or 5 people that was with me, all ascended masters, all ascended souls. In that pantry was their spiritual tools, and they took all of theirs. It looked like Egyptian tools, those powerful tools, and what was left for me was this box. It looked like a cardboard box, but it had all this gold inscriptions and stuff on it. That box told me that I was the son of God, and this time I would have been called the son of Zeus, and this time I would have been called the son of this. This box told me that, right? And then I said to the box, I said, where is my spiritual tool? And then they said, this little box, it told me that the eye of Horus is actually mine, but the government has it. I'm not exaggerating. You can't make such stories like this up. So I was like, okay, the eye of Horus is mine, so are you saying that I'm Horus? I can't confirm nor deny that. I actually can't confirm nor deny. What I do know, though, is I'm another son of God. I do know that. Because after, and before I say that, up until that moment, no spirit in the history of my astral projection journeys have ever called me the son of God. None. But until that experience about 2 to 3 months ago, every spirit that I encountered called me that. So I accepted it. So, Ari, what I have for you is, in 3 days, if you want to meet Jesus, Buddha, and Horus again, click the link in my bio, get my ebook. Because again, people, who am I? I'm a person who helps students and teachers on the spiritual path. Who am I? I'm a person that helps atheists find the unexplained power of old within them. Who am I? I am a person, a soul, a son of God, who help humans who aspire to be like and live like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus totally achieve their aspirations, goals, and enlightenment in 3 days, no more, no less. Click the link in the bio to get my 3-day course. It's actually my ebook. When you click the link in the bio, you go to the ebook. Get the ebook. Within the ebook is my 3-day course. Within it, it includes the 3-day course. Includes, which means there is so much more information around it. And I have been teaching people this 3-day course for years and years. And my video that I just posted before I went live, my most recent video, and I'm going to get to your comments at the end of that video, my most recent one, there is some testimony, some from even 2 years ago. right, a conscious leader. I might be butchering this word. The Kaibalion? I might be butchering the word. I've never actually said that word in my day-to-day, but I've seen that word. Another person that comes in my life, his name is Hermes. He's mentioned something that just looks like that. Kaibalion. I'm not going to act like I read it. But the knowledge of what Hermes was telling me, because Hermes was teaching me about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And actually got him interested in my ebook because he was telling me, this book that you're mentioning teaches stuff like this as well. And I was like, but there's no book on this planet that teaches what I teach in 3 days. And my book is only 22 pages. I don't have any fluff. And he was like, yeah. But you asked, if the student is ready, the teacher will appear, correct? That's why you're here. Targeted by a low-frequency spiritual cult. That's an interesting way to put it. I don't know if they're a cult. I think they're a lot more than a cult. Someone says, how old are you? Old enough to teach you enlightenment in 3 days. I'm a very old soul. Very, very old soul. Very, very old soul. I am Divine Presence asks me how old I am. I am a very old soul. If you are here in this live, you honestly don't care about how old this vessel is. You care about how old I truly am. I'm a very old soul. I've been here for eons. There is no soul on the planet that can enlighten you like I can in 3 days that hasn't been around for eons. The best way to lucid dream is to open a door while you are dreaming? No. Alright, so Rose asked that. So it wasn't even really an ask, it wasn't a question. I don't know if it was a question or a statement, but I'm just going to assume it's a question. Rose talks about the best way to lucid dream is to open a door while you are dreaming. That is not the best way to lucid dream. And I'll tell you why. When you are dreaming, you are going through subconscious automation. What a dream is subconscious automation. Alright? That's what a dream is. You know how dreams just happen and you are in the dreams and you're just moving and you're not aware, you're not lucid, you're just moving, you're just doing what the dream is telling you to do. In a dream, you already know what your end goal is. It's because you are on subconscious automation, because dreams, this is scientific, are just your subconscious maneuvering what's going on and working through and transmuting energy that is presented within your experience. Dreams is nothing but your subconsciousness. Now, if you want the best way to lucid dream, what you have to do is you now have to understand what I just told you and then incorporate a routine. Why? If dreams are subconscious automation, what is that automation that is happening in your dreams? The automation is a reflection of your waking state. What you will find when you start increasing spirit memory, want to learn how to increase spirit memory, click the link in the bio and get our ebook, which includes the 3-day course that teaches you how to become awakened and enlightened in 3 days. It also improves your spirit memory. But when you improve on your spirit memory, what will happen before you become totally lucid is you will be able to be the cameraman in your dream. Before you become fully lucid in dreams, it always is best for you to listen to masters like me and improve your spirit memory. Why? Because you have to turn yourself into the cameraman in your dream. The cameraman doesn't have control over the body in your dream, but you now can see what's going on in your dream. Now when you are at this state, seeing what's going on in your dream as the cameraman, you will see that a lot of the things you do in your dream is a reflection of what you do in your waking state and your routine. So in order for you to lucid dream better, incorporate a routine. I'll give you one that's always helped me since I was a kid. Throughout your day, throughout your day and set an alarm on your phone. Count your fingers. 1, 2, 3. Look away when you count them. Session done. Treat it like workout session. When you do this for 1 week to 1 month, consistently, every day, for 1 week to 1 month, consistently every day, count your fingers throughout the day. 3 sets. Do it 3 sets. Do it however many sets you like. At a minimum 3. What you will find, if you are truly disciplined, is in your dream, you will count your fingers. This is one way, and one of the easiest ways. I have lucid dreamed when I was younger. I have a new method for lucid dreaming, but that's a way. Let's go. All right. Kyle talks about, I am the prime example of what he is speaking of. Kyle has been here for a while. Kyle knows that I've been doing this for a while. And Kyle don't even know me in physicality. Kyle knows me when I was improving my teachings and improving my speaking skills and teaching skills in public. So Kyle knows. Ari says, get the Eye of Horus back, please go on that mission. Ari, I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a big ask. Ari, I'm not gonna lie to you, that is a big ask. I don't know if I'm ready to go on that journey. And I go because that is a journey. But this is how God the Source works. Even though I'm admitting I may not be ready to go on that journey. Why am I not ready to go on that journey? Because I have something that I think is better than the Eye of Horus. I have the sun on my left eye. I learned that from Ra the Sun God. I don't learn from Ra the Sun God anymore, but when I was learning from Ra the Sun God, I learned how to put the sun on my left eye. And with a very particular technique that I very rarely do, but I still know how to do it, I can turn it on, and when I look with my left eye at the sun, I can see 7 suns lined up. I think that's cooler than the Eye of Horus. A Conscious says, Kabalion. Thank you, A Conscious. Thank you for teaching me how to say the word. Kabalion. I am so grateful. See, you deserve a cookie. Because most people wouldn't have taught me how to say the word. And I'm humble enough as a teacher to admit when I don't know how to pronounce something. Because it's English, okay? I'm teaching people how to become enlightened. So English is not my first leader. A conscious leader, I don't need a teacher outside of myself. A conscious loner. I was calling you a conscious leader because you just led me in something. But a conscious loner is your name. I don't need a teacher outside of myself. Best experience about this enlightenment is I'm no different than you. The moment you see yourself as different and separate from me, you miss the entire point of the enlightenment. No teacher across this planet that has the power that I have to awaken a soul in 3 days with proof, with testimonies, go on my page, is different than you, because a part of enlightenment is oneness. So a conscious loner, click the link in the bio, get my ebook, and enlighten yourself within 3 days. Because you have to also understand how I structure the course, how I structure the book. It's not me telling you this. It's me giving you the knowledge and telling you go do it. Quite literally, I think it's in the 4th or 5th to last page. I give you, it's a full page of questions to ask and check marks and check boxes to check as it pertains to what will lead you into the full awareness and enlightenment of your journey. So do not see me as separate than you. Do not see me as a teacher that is in front of a camera teaching you, and you are separate while looking at a phone, looking at a teacher. We are one and the same. The worst thing you can do, a conscious loner, the absolute worst thing anyone can do, is hear someone say that I can enlighten you in 3 days with proof with testimonies of people saying they've been enlightened in 3 days. And you run away because your ego says, hey, y'all, remember you're separate. Because you also have to understand God the source is one, and God the source does not work in randomization or randomization. I just made a new word, randomization. That's a word today. God don't work in randomization. I'm standing on it. But God does not work in randomizing. Everything is synchronistic as it pertains to God the source. It's synchronistic in oneness. So if you are even attracted to me, a person with proof that can enlighten you in 3 days, walk with me in 3 days, then all that is a reflection of who you are. You would not be in this live. Again, you will not be in this live if your frequency did not match mine. That is a divine law, which is also included in the ebook. Click the link in the bio to get our ebook, God's Plan for Humanity, A Message from the Mountaintop. Divine law number 1, what you see is what you are, and what you are is what you see. Reality is but a reflection. So you seeing me, a person who has enlightened hundreds of people in 3 days, all that lets you know is you have the frequency that reflects that. So the worst thing you can do is listen to your ego. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to anybody. The worst thing you can do in this moment for you being here is listen to your ego and ignore the obvious proof and enlightenment. Is not clicking the link in the bio to get the ebook. It's the only one. I don't aspire to make another book. Because everything you need, everything humanity needs to be enlightened is in that book in 3 days. The absolute worst thing you can do is ignore that. It doesn't actually serve anybody. So just everybody understand that. I am not separate from you. There is literally a divine law. And thank you for all the donations. There is literally a divine law that makes sure all spiritual people are in check if they think they are separate. That divine law, which is included in our ebook, click link in bio, is it's page 2, or it's page 2 of chapter 1, the 7 divine laws. Law number 1: what you see is what you are, and what you are is what you see. I'm no different than you. And if you, as a person watching this live, watching this broadcast of holiness, if you have not enlightened someone in 3 days, if you have not taught someone magic in 3 days, if you have not brought forth awareness of self to an atheist in 3 days, it's in your best interest. And God is telling you to listen to this, or I wouldn't be reflected to you. I rest my case. I'm listening to testimony, and so I'm listening to your testimony, and so it is. And so it is, a conscious loner, and so it is. But don't just listen to my testimony. In my video that I posted, my most recent one, right before I went live, it's my most recent video. I'm actually going to pin, I'm going to make sure I pin it to the page. At the end of that video, I have 2 testimonies. One directly talking about the book, which is the first one you see, and the second one is a testimony of someone who experienced the 3-day course 2 years ago. I've been curating this course, and it's the same course, but when I inserted the course within the Message for Humanity, the ebook, Lee Lout says, I only serve one master, and that's God. The ebook is quite literally titled God's Plan for Humanity. And this is what y'all have to understand. Until you have reached a full state of holiness, and until you can either match what I provide for the planet, enlighten people in 3 days, or improve upon it, enlighten someone in 1 day, The only person that tells you to say a statement like Lee Lausch just did, I only serve one master and that's God, is ego. Because it's quite literally God telling you, this soul of mine that has this message, with this testimony, with this proof, is being reflected to you for an obvious, clear reason. And if the ebook is quite literally titled God's Plan for Humanity, a message from the mountaintop, what in your brain, heart, and soul says that is not of God? If the testimonies of people who have experienced the courses inside of this book and have read this book talk about their life being transformed, them getting closer to God, and miracles and holiness coming like never before, what in your heart and soul, aside from your ego, is saying that is not of God? A lot of people in this spiritual community, a lot of people in the religious community actually do not know what God is. Justin Scott, a very powerful writer on TikTok, he actually made a video, and that video, I think the title was, Y'all Actually Haven't Met God. And it triggered a lot of people. But I know what he was saying as a person that actually has met God. How do you know you've met God? If the experience you are offering people is that of the experience that people receive when they pray to God, that's how you know. Most people have not extended another miracle. Most people have not extended another magic. Most people. But what you have done is you have maintained a state of frequency, of being, to survive in the Aquarius age. And that is extraordinarily powerful. What you have done as a person in this life is you have maintained a frequency and state of being to get you to survive in this Aquarius age, which is extremely powerful. So pat yourself on the back. Because you don't understand, as a person that has went into different realms, as a person, me, who has created portals in real life, click the link in my bio to join our mystery school. The free members of our mystery school can literally go to the link in bio, join the mystery school in the Patreon, because our mystery school is currently housed on Patreon. There is a category called our sacred teachings. You can click our sacred teachings. One of the free classes for the free members. I don't have too many free classes for the free members, because if you aren't willing to invest in your spiritual career, you shouldn't even be acting like you on a spiritual path. But I understand the power of business and giving something to somebody so they know the value of what they have. So in one of the free classes in the mystery school, I teach people that very same technique that I did all those years ago to create a portal on paper in real life. Right? So I've done these things. I teach these things. And the best thing you can do in this moment is recognize and own your power. You made it into the Aquarius age. Because as a person who travels in between realms all the time, and ages and eons and different what you call timelines in the astral world and in the dream world, your soul has to match. Your soul, spirit, frequency has to match the age you are at, or you will not handle it. You will die. You have to also understand why spiritually COVID happened. Spiritually, why COVID happened. Spiritually, COVID happened to transition a lot of souls that weren't truly ready for the Aquarius age. Spiritually. To transition a mass amount of souls to the old earth to prepare the souls that are prepared for the new earth, which we are currently at. We are living in new earth. Aquarius age is new earth. You don't get my course of enlightening people in 3 days without being in new earth. That's a new earth thing. That does not happen in old earth. So don't listen to your ego, yo. That just don't. All right, so John McKinney asks, When I look in the mirror, am I actually seeing myself? John, when you look in the mirror, you are seeing a vessel that your soul, spirit, and consciousness chose to incarnate in, because that vessel and soul, spirit matches the frequency that your soul, spirit, and consciousness exudes. That is what you are looking at when you are looking at the mirror. You are looking in the mirror. That's what you're looking at. You have to understand that this world that we are living in is but a construction. This world is a hologram. This world that we are living in has a parallel. The parallel is the spiritual world. Nobody leaves the spiritual world to enter the physical world, but everybody leaves the physical world to enter the spiritual world. How do we know this? Because you still have your spirit and soul when you enter a physical body, which is the physical world. You quite literally can't leave the spirit world. So the spirit world always exists. The physical world is something that has just been constructed, an extension of the spirit world. This physical world does not exist because the laws of this physical world does not correspond with the laws of the spirit world. For example, you can experience hate and lack of love here in this physical world, but you quite literally can't experience that in the spirit world. It's impossible. Because when you are exuding a love frequency, you don't see anything of love. When you are exuding a hateful frequency, you're only going to be receiving a frequency that you and your human brain will interpret as hate. But all it's actually is just you. A conscious leader, I've been enlightened to things of my own bloodline. That's very, I keep calling you a conscious leader. Because you are. I've been enlightened to things of my own bloodline. Bravo. Your energy is positive. Wishing you well in your journey. Thank you. We are eternally grateful. All right. Oh, I did not mean to invite whoever I invited, but you're invited. So everybody, before I head up out of here, let's review who I am and why we are doing this. How can I help you? Well, I can help you reach enlightenment in 3 days. How? I have a 3-day course within an ebook that you can click the link in the bio. You could get. The ebook is titled God's Plan for Humanity, a Message from the Mountaintop. For years upon years, students have taken this 3-day course of mine, and I have testimonies. In my most recent video, I have some of those testimonies. One testimony is from the ebook that they've read, and the second testimony is a testimony from 2 years ago, of someone 2 years ago taking my 3-day course and them telling me their experience. To prove, and I made sure to include that 2 year ago testimony to prove how long I've been doing this. I help students and teachers on the spiritual path. I help atheists who choose to embark on the journey to reveal unexplained power of old, of the ancients. I help humans who aspire to be like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus. I help soul spirits who aspire to be fully transitioned into God the Source. And I do this totally within 3 days. I help you reach your goals of enlightenment in 3 days. Click the link in the bio, get our ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, a Message from the Mountaintop. And in 3 days of you reading that book, taking that course, you will be enlightened. And I pray and send divine statements that you text me or email me your testimony so I can add it to the list. Right now, I'm testimony hunting. I got some testimonies already piled up, but I'm looking for more. Because I love to see the before and after. So if you, in 3 days, want to become enlightened, if you are an atheist that want to reveal magic and miracles of yourself, if you are a human that want to be like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus, in 3 days I can achieve that for you. I promise you. click the link in the bio, get our ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity. Inside of this ebook includes my 3-day course that I have been teaching people for years. And this 3-day course, when inserted in this ebook, is far more powerful than the version of the 3-day course that my students and members have taken before. In 3 days, you will receive miracles happen in your life. In 3 days, your frequency will totally skyrocket and you won't be able to manage it or control it. Your frequency will be at a level that you have never seen before and you will never think is possible. Don't believe me? Watch my most recent video that I posted right before I went live. It's my most recent one. I'll be sure to pin it to my page. At the end of that video, you see 2 testimonies. One from this month, and the other testimony is from 2 years ago to prove how long I've been doing this. The testimony from this month is from the first purchaser of my book. They couldn't even get 8 pages in, and they sent me that testimony of how transformational that book is. Click link in bio. The second testimony is from one of my students from 2 years ago who has taken the 3-day course. And out of respect, I did not post there before because it has some personal information, but I definitely posted there after. I definitely posted their testimony. And they were saying, across multiple days, and in the video, in their testimony, they said they was texting me through the Instagram DMs. You know how Instagram DMs send you the date of when they texted? You see the date of when they was responding. They were so life-changed. They were so transformed. They kept texting me multiple days after they received the 3-day course and completed it. On one of the days they texted me after they completed the 3-day course, it was another day. They was like, hey, yo, I just have to tell you again, miracles are just popping up in my life. I'm him. Whoever you think I am, I'm him. And I'm owning my power. But just know, per the divine laws are also within the ebook. I'm going to give you one divine law that is in the ebook. Click link in bio to get it. God's Plan for Humanity, a Message from the Mountaintop. That's the ebook title. Your life will change. The first divine law is what you see is what you are, and what you are is what you see. So the fact that you're here in this life seeing me own up to this power with proof is nothing but a reflection of you. Why? Because you survived this Aquarius age. If your frequency is not worthy of this Aquarius age, you would not be in this Aquarius age. If your frequency is not aligned in this Aquarius age, you will not be in this Aquarius age. The fact that you are here in this live with the person who really is the Son of God, as are you, for we are one. With the person who really has changed people's life in real life, or what people call real life and physicality before taking teachings online. The fact that you're in this life, a person that has changed their life. Yes, I have testimony that I have posted in my videos. I am a living testimony. I am a living testimony. I don't get to be able to enlighten you in 3 days, show you magic and portals in 3 days, do all of these things in 3 days if I myself haven't done them and reached the frequency to be able to reflect it. Because you also have to know that there are what you would consider spiritual guardrails. Miguel says, thank you, bro. Keep up the good work. I wish you abundance and success. I am so very grateful for you. I am so very grateful for you. Miguel, I'm in this energy to showcase that reflection of you and all others. I have to recognize my own power. Recognize, though I'm a teacher, I too have been slipping. I've been confusing humbleness with withholding the truth. Again, I have been confusing humbleness with withholding the truth. That's the worst thing you can do, is to confuse what humble is and what withholding the truth is. I haven't been really out here telling people what I've done. And I know if I don't tell you, you wouldn't know. Because I was thinking that was humble. There are some things that you must do in silence when you're in the spiritual community and you're on the spiritual path. That goes without saying, no pun intended. In addition to this, there are also things you have to stand by. So this is me standing by it. In 3 days, click the link in the bio, change your life. So I'm gonna be here. If you have any questions, type them down below. If you have any questions, type them down below. Because I'm here with you. I can enlighten you in 3 days with the proof. Again, let's go over who I am and how I can help. Peace unto you, Miss Prophet. Peace unto you, Miss Prophet. Today, this live is a PSA, a broadcast of holiness to remind people who I am and what I can provide for you. In 3 days, spread the word, Miss Prophet. In 3 days, you can be enlightened. In 3 days, you can be like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus. I have released an ebook, click link in bio. To receive that ebook, within this ebook includes my 3-day course, my notorious, my holy 3-day course that I've been teaching for years, alongside a wealth of information, 7 divine laws, 7 revelations of man, instructions, breathwork exercises with the history behind them, evaluations of humanity, 5 chapters of holiness. In 3 days, if you're willing to have your life change, listen, I'm going to get to some of your comments, but let me go through who I help. I help students and teachers on the spiritual path. I help atheists who choose to embark on a journey to have the unexplained secret power be revealed within them. I help humans who aspire to be like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus. I help soul spirits who aspire to be fully transitioned into God the Source, totally reach their aspirations, goals, and enlightenment in 3 days, no more, no less. With proof and testimony. You have to ask yourself, is my soul worth investing in? That's the question you should be asking yourself. KJ, I see your question. That's not the question that really serves to be asked, KJ. The question you should be asking, not to me, but to yourself, is my soul worth investing in? That's the question. Do you invest in your soul in the same way you invest in your hunger? Do you invest in your soul in the same way you invest in your livelihood? Do you invest in your soul the same amount of energy, time, and money that you put into this world that we all know is an illusion? And what you will find out is a lot of us don't. I didn't. When I was in my younger years, yeah, KJ, you say you don't? I didn't either. I didn't invest in my soul in the same way. Yes, I was in my younger years, I was doing spiritual stuff, but I was a kid, so I was doing kid stuff. I'm having fun, smoking with the homies, chilling with gangs, fighting. I ain't got the hands no more, but I had the hands. I had the hands back in the day. I ain't got the hands no more. But I was a troubled child who was also holy. And you can't do both. I had to pick one. Crazy because I'm doing the same thing and I'm 20. Exactly, KJ. I'm telling you, KJ. KJ, I was where you was at. I was where you was at. I'm so happy, KJ. I might cry. I'm so serious. I was where you was at. The fact that you are here, KJ, lets me know that God put you here for a reason. KJ, go get that book. Go click the link in the bio. Go get my ebook. It's my only one. KJ, just so you know, because right now I'm talking to you. Yes, everybody else is here, but right now let's lock in with each other. KJ, July 1st, this month, I was in the shower scrub-a-dub-dubbing. I have never aspired to be an author. I am a musician. I am a rapper that is also a teacher. That was what my dreams and aspirations is currently still. I never wanted to be an author, but when I was in the shower, God told me to make a book. And in my line of work, when God tells you to do something and you check the check boxes, which I teach in my mystery school, there's 3 check boxes that you must check to know if it is God that is telling you to do something or if it's something else. I checked my 3 check boxes, KJ, and it was God telling me to make this book. I'm going to tell you what those 3 check boxes are, KJ, because I love you. Even though I teach it in my mystery school, click link in bio to join our mystery school. And our most recent class, 3rd semester class 6, our 3rd year to mystery school class 6. I just posted class 6 yesterday. In that class, I said this, but I'll tell it to you, KJ. For you to know if God the Source is telling you something, you have to check 3 check boxes. Number 1 is the ask or is the thought, because all these beings will send you thoughts, send you energy and frequency disguised as thoughts. Is the thought that you are receiving a thought that you typically have? Does that thought carry a frequency of the thoughts you typically have? If not, check number 1. It's not outside of yourself, which means not your ego. Check box 1. I don't make books. I'm not an author. I make music. I make teachings and classes. So check box number 1. That's not of me. Check box number 2 is, what is the ask? Is the ask holy, or is the ask rooted in this world? If the ask is rooted of this world, does that root lead to something that's holy? If not, you know it's not. If it does, one of the two, if it's holy or if that root leads to holiness, check box number 2, it's of God. Check box number 3 is when you start to walk forward towards that thought that you think God has sent you. Just because it check box 2 out of the 3 don't necessarily mean it's God yet. If you walk towards that thought, if you start to embark actions or embark on a journey with actions that produce a reflection of completion of that thought that you have received, that you assume is from God the Source, and you receive anything other than excitement, holiness, or positivity, step back and ask yourself, is it because I am afraid of the unknown, or is it because this is truly not holy? If you conclude that it's just you being afraid of the unknown, it's holy. If you conclude that, oh no, this is just not sitting well with my energy, it's not. But if you also conclude that it is holy, it checks all 3 boxes. That's what happened to me. The second question, or the second check box, what is it? What is the thought? The first one was make a book. I'm not an author. The second one was, the thought is make a book titled God's Plan for Humanity, a message from the mountaintop. Well, it don't get no more blatant than that. Third thought, when I got out the shower and sat down in this chair, KJ, I was looking at this screen right here with this keyboard right here. On Google Docs, just staring at a blank canvas on Google Docs. Put my fingers to that keyboard and they just started moving. And on the second day, July 2nd, the book was made miraculously. KJ, this book is for people like you. It's an ebook, which means the moment you invest in your soul and get that ebook, you immediately get it. It's on your phone. You will always have it. And from there, you have to also understand the power. The power of you investing in your soul. You have to understand the symbolism behind it as well as the power. Because KJ, you are bold enough to admit, KJ, you are bold enough to admit that you don't invest in your soul in the same way you invest in your hunger, in the same way you invest in your life. You are bold enough to admit it, because I can almost guarantee you, over 50% of the people in this live, scroll past this live, or is watching this live and haven't clicked all the way in, can say the same thing. They have not invested in their soul in the same way they invest in their hunger, in the same way they invest in their life. KJ, you are bold. And because you are that bold to do it, that's how I know. If everyone buys this book, you would be the one disciplined to complete it. If everyone buys this book, I know KJ will be the one to come after to me in 3 days and give me his testimony. I know it. How do I know it, KJ? Because you admitted it. Even psychology tells us this. Psychology tells us the first thing is acceptance. You don't get change without acceptance. So I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity right now to say either I do or I don't. I'm gonna ask this question to everybody. KJ, you're already good. You already answered. Make sure you get that book. KJ, click link in the bio. It's when you click the link in the bio, it leads to a link tree. It's literally at the top. My only ebook, God's Plan for Humanity. You click that. You invest in your soul spirit. Invest in it. You read that ebook. You take that 3-day course. And KJ, I just humbly ask that you send me a testimony and a review. I know it's going to be a wonderful review. I just have to make sure I build up on these reviews. I have a lot, but I could get more. But I'm going to ask a question to everybody. I got you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you, KJ. Hey, the stuff that I just told you, I know everybody else heard it, but I know the way God works. Because I told God that I'm talking to you, KJ, a lot of the information went in some people's ears and out the other. But I know you the one. You know how they say it takes one to change the world? KJ, I'm not just telling you this because I want you to get the book. I need you to understand I am not no author. Look, KJ, I'm one of the coldest rappers you will ever hear. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to rap you a verse to prove that me trying to tell you to get this book and me telling you to get this book isn't just because I'm trying to promote no book. It's because I know it will change your life. Because it has changed people's life. And also, in addition to this, it's because I don't aspire to make another book because I'm not an author. That's not my dreams. So I'm going to rap you a verse to show you how cold I am as a rapper. For you to know, like, oh snap, God did give him the gift. He just threw him a curveball and told him to make a book to see if he gonna listen. But listen to how cold this verse is. I said, the pop out in effect and ain't no glasses, mind your busyness. Twist the knob. We gon' show him how hot it really gets. I've been hustling every day, dodging censorship, twisting the truth like lambs holler while wolves howl innocent. So I'ma flex this pinky ring until my pinky hurt. I'ma show him it gets better before it gets worse. Nowadays, you gotta put the candy with the tonic. Don't talk louder than the blunt or we smoking you first. I know some homies clutching like they hit a game winner and go back to mama house because she made dinner. Truthfully, I calm down the ones who sees red. But when it comes to the green, the pedal's always pressed. Ho, you getting triggered ain't worse than the trigger man. Crying about being broke ain't gonna get a ban. Hustle, don't stall. Kick out who crawls. We walk the walk, do not care who is pissed off. KJ, I need you to know I'm one of the coldest rappers in the world. I did not want to be no author. I am only an author because God told me, make a book for humanity. And I did not know what to say because I'm not no author. He said, that's hard. I'm telling you, KJ, God gave me a gift. I didn't want to make no book, so now you know. You acknowledged the fact. You acknowledged it. You acknowledged the fact. So now you know, KJ, in your heart and soul, I'm not just trying to sell you no book.
I'm trying to change your life. And not just trying, I will change your life because I have changed hundreds of people's lives, period. I know this works because my life changed, as well as the testimonies. And the fact, KJ, that you admitted that you don't invest in your soul the way you invest in your hunger in your life, like psychology says, acceptance leads to change. The fact that you admitted it, when you go get that ebook, KJ, when you support another holy child of God and you get that ebook, you're actually supporting you, that you're the holy child of God. Rose says, I'm going to get it Friday. This frequency is growing too loud for me to ignore anyone. Oh my God. Hey, yo, God. Are you serious? Rose, you gonna come out the water too? Rose, we've been in the water too long being baptized. We've been baptized in the water too long. Get up. Our baptism is boom, boom. All of us on the spiritual path has been just stuck in the water. The fact, Rose, that you say you're gonna come out and you don't get the book too? Because I know, Rose, I know you heard me and KJ's personal conversation. I know you was eavesdropping on me and KJ's conversation, Rose. And you was like, he did make some strong points. I guess I'll get the book too. I appreciate you because your life will change. Now listen, y'all. KJ and Rose, when you get this ebook, yes, your life will change. Yes, that's all fine and dandy. Yes, you will be enlightened in 3 days. I stand by it. I have testimony to prove it. Though that is, do not share this book with anybody until you've read the full book. I just pray and send divine statements that you don't share it until you've completed it. The worst thing you can do is share something that you haven't fully integrated. Because this book, I can't do this alone, y'all. I can't do this alone. No matter how powerful I am, no matter how many spirits in the astral world call me the Son of God, no matter how many spirits in the astral world call me Horus, no matter how many spirits in the astral world call me this or call me that, I can't do this alone. God sent me, a person that never made a book before, to send a message for humanity that will change people's life, because included in this book is the teachings, the sacred teachings that I guard. And I only give it to qualified people. I disqualify the people that isn't as disciplined as you, KJ, and you, Rose. I disqualify the people that aren't as disciplined as you, KJ, you, Rose, and all others that has stayed in this life. I disqualify everyone else because you're not disciplined enough. Those people are not disciplined to listen to the clear truth and proof and remove themselves from the urge to swipe away and start doom scrolling again. The fact that you not only broke one addiction, you broke the doom scrolling addiction. Let me just highlight y'all power. This is for all of y'all. Roll call. Let me make sure I get everybody's names in here. Roll call. Type 33s in the chat if you are currently in the live. If you are currently in this live, type 33s in the chat if you are currently in this live. I would like to highlight everyone that's in this live. Type 33s in the chat if you are currently in this live. I gotta highlight everybody. I don't need nobody not getting highlighted. Type 33s in the chat if you are currently in this live, so I know who's here, so I can address you properly. Okay. Whoever those last two, type 33s in the chat, so I know who you is. So look, KJ, the Creator 369, Rose. Let me show you. Allow me to reflect to you what you have done that you may have overlooked. Just to show you your power. You, number one, broke an addiction. You stopped doom scrolling when you encountered my energy. You didn't know me from a can of paint. But something about me and what I was saying, my frequency, got you to stop scrolling. One, stop there. You broke an addiction. You broke a doom scrolling addiction, a psyop being ran on everyone by the government. Number two, you stayed. Not only did you stop to listen, but you stayed. So you broke another addiction. Orion, you here too. I see you. Orion, you here too. So you broke another addiction, which is the attention span addiction. The addiction to a low and short attention span. You broke KJ, Creator 369 and Rose. Y'all have to recognize how powerful just those two things. And I'm gonna keep going, because right now I'm highlighting y'all power. And I trust and I know that y'all gonna get the book, because ain't no way y'all this disciplined and y'all don't click the link in the bio and get that book. Ain't no way. Not only did you break two addictions, but you broke those addictions on an app that constantly fuels those addictions with backing by the government. This app is backed by the government that spends billions of dollars in psychology and psyops. So you broke the government's most powerful addictions. The addiction to be trapped, which is the doom scrolling, and then the addiction to have a short attention span. But y'all broke both of these, right? Let me continue. KJ, the Creators 369, Rose, Orion. You also broke another addiction, which is the ego addiction. Oh, we already at 3. I need y'all to see y'all power. Y'all, look. Yes, in 3 days when you get that ebook, your life will change. That's fine and dandy. But right now, I know Rose says she's gonna get it on Friday. Y'all have to leave here with something. Like Denzel Washington said, y'all gonna leave here with something. Y'all gonna leave here knowing what y'all did. And if y'all don't recognize it, I need y'all to know I love you so much, I recognize it. So much so to highlight it. Y'all also broke the ego addiction. What is the ego addiction? Y'all heard me say that I'm going to change your life in 3 days. I'm going to bring you enlightenment within 3 days. I have an ebook that miraculously got made in 1 day. I have testimonies to prove it. You heard all of that. A lot of people's egos still said, I don't trust him. A lot of people's egos said, oh, he's trying to sell me something? Nah, I don't care. A lot of people's egos said, I don't want to invest in my soul. Sanchez, oh my God. Hold on, I gotta stand up. I gotta stand up. Sanchez, you gonna change your life too? Sanchez, you gonna change your life too? Okay, hold on. Hey, Ben Cohen, Jesus is the way. Ben Cohen, Jesus is the way. Don't lead. Do not judge. Remember, Jesus says, the hate you give another is the hate you give yourself. The judgments you give another is the judgments you give yourself. Hey, Ben, I'm gonna speak to you. I got something for you, but right now, let me highlight these souls real quick for standing up for their soul. Hold on. Let me include you, Sanchez. So not only did KJ, Rose, and the Creator 369, but also Sanchez. Hold on. I love that standby party hat. Oh, standby. The party hat is on standby. I would love to talk. Can I come up when after? Ben? Because I love you, you'll be the only person that's allowed to come up and speak. Everybody, let me give Ben his shine. Let me give Ben his shine like I'm giving y'all shine. So, KJ, Rose, the Creator 369, and Sanchez. Y'all broke 3 addictions. And y'all have to understand, all of this is leaning towards you investing in your soul. The same way you invest in your hunger, same way you invest in your life. You broke the doom scrolling addiction. You broke the short attention span addiction, because you're still here. You broke the ego addiction, like everybody else. Everybody that heard me say, I got the proof, I could change your life in 3 days. The people in the beginning of this live, when a person named Jeff Miller came, and I spoke him in existence. I don't know if y'all was there in the very beginning of this live, But y'all, I'ma post this video on my YouTube. Just to make sure just to make sure the miracles y'all see. Because in the very beginning, if y'all wasn't here for the very beginning, as I was going over telling people who I am, I was telling people, y'all, I was doing this in real life. I'm not no internet teacher. That's the difference between me and these other people in the spiritual community. Those people started on the internet. No, I took it serious. I'm the Jesus of today. I'm the Buddha of today. I'm the Horus of today, and you are too. The ebook will just reveal that to you. Remember, I'm not giving you anything with the ebook. All I'm doing is revealing to you what's already there. Like Jesus said in Luke 17:21, Ben, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Like Jesus said in John 14:12, Ben, you shall do what I do and greater works than I. That is a prophecy. So look, in the beginning of the live, I was talking about who I am, that I was doing this in real life, and that I would hold gatherings in my home in real life, like Jesus did, like Buddha did, like all these other gurus, and I held gatherings in my home to strangers, family, and friends. And we talked about spiritual things. I facilitated miracles. I showed them magic. We did very powerful things, energy work and everything. And then one night, I was doing this for years too. One night, a person named Jeff Miller, he came to one of my gatherings and told me, this was probably like his third or fourth gathering he came to. He came to one of my gatherings and it was so miraculous. So many miracles was happening in real life. They seen them. Jeff Miller told me, Nadiie, you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not take this to the internet. Yes, I'm happy you showed me these miracles and stuff, but the world needs to see this. It took me 2 to 3 months. I was hard-headed. I said, internet? I ain't teaching to the internet. This is sacred. I'm thinking old age. I'm not thinking the Aquarius age. I'm thinking Pisces age. But I listened to Jeff, and when I was telling that story, right? Literally, when I brought up Jeff's name, he popped up in the live. Y'all, it was like a miracle. It is a miracle. A miracle literally happened. The moment I brought up Jeff's name to tell the story, Jeff showed up. You can't make this up. And I was like, I jumped up, I got so excited. I said, oh my God, God is really with me today. And I said, Jeff, didn't you tell me to do this when we was at our gathering? Didn't miracles and stuff happen? And he was like, yes, sir. So, let's play, yo, KJ, Rose, the creator 369, Sanchez, and Ben. I don't know if you're still here, Ben, hold on. We talking some real stuff. Y'all also broke the ego addiction. Because people seen those miracles. People literally seen a miracle. And they still said, I'm here waiting perfect. After I highlight these people, I'm gonna hop you on so we can really get this dialogue. Because I love talking to religious people. I'm not religious. I'm Native American of the Sika tribe. Okisinatapi Nisokoa. That means hello, how you doing, my friend? Very spiritual, very powerful. Have the proof. I'm just here. I actually learned from Jesus in the astral world, believe it or not. Because in some Christians, I know I'm getting to y'all highlights, but God is telling me to get this off so Ben know who I am. Some Christians and some religious people, they have this giant ego that think that Jesus is only doing work or only did work when he was in flesh. And I say, how egotistical do you have to be to think a being that literally calls himself a son of God is going to stop enlightening people after he leaves the vessel and leaves earth? No, in the spirit world, Jesus still is teaching. In the spirit world, Yeshua, what we call Yeshua, still is teaching. And you don't take my word for it. Take the teacher that taught me how to astral project at 13 years old. Because I actually was ordained to be a Christ by Jesus because I went through one of his courses and one of his classes. But also, if you go on YouTube, type in Ryan Cropper, Jesus, there's a whole video, and it's so powerful. I recommend you listen to that video about how Yeshua continues his work. Very powerful in the spirit world. But, y'all, KJ, Rose, the creator, 369, and Sanchez, you broke the ego addiction because you heard all of this proof and you told your ego, come back tomorrow because today We on nothing but God's time. Today, we on nothing but holiness. Y'all broke the 3 most powerful addictions on the planet Earth. The addiction of being trapped, feeling like you're trapped. That's what doom scrolling is. Doom scrolling is trapped. But because you're being sent so much dopamine chemically, you don't have the wherewithal to recognize you're actually trapped. So you broke feeling like you're trapped. You broke the short attention span, which is a giant psyop, and you broke one of the biggest addictions on this earth, which is the ego. And the fact that all of y'all are going to invest in your soul and get that ebook lets me know what it is. That's what the party hat is. So I'm gonna save the party hat, but let's bring up Ben. I do know that and I thank you for all the donations. I do know that I got to be very careful with how I set up this live, because the moment I start accepting guests, all right, I'm gonna do panel that. All right. Let me see if this is all working the way it's supposed to. Show available spot. Oh, I don't have to show the. Oh, let's go. I don't have to show it. This is the first time, Ben. All right, so Ben, see if you can send an invite to join up. I would love to talk to you. And just so you know, we're going to have some structure to this conversation. If you have anything heavy on your heart or whatnot, say that. But also know that this live, this class, this offering, let's call this live. Let's sanctify this live. How do I do it, bro? Let me see if I can click your name and invite you. Let's make sure. Let's sanctify this live, y'all, and make it to where this live is only for the souls that want to invest in their soul. How do I do it? I'm gonna hit guess, 0 guess. Oh, where are you at, man? Viewers. See that you're here, but you're not in viewers. Let me see. Let me click your name. Let's see. You should see invite at the bottom left. But if you don't, let me show the available spot. I know there's a setting that says show the available spot. Let me click that. Do y'all see it or not? Doesn't really look like it. You may not have enough followers. Oh yeah, Ben. So they be doing that. You don't have enough followers to join up. That is very odd. No, I did it today. Okay, you did it today? Okay, perfect. Let's see. Click that. Always show layout. Show the layout and available styles to your viewers every time you go. Bam! Invite. Okay. I see the little spot right there. It doesn't let me invite you though, Ben. Oh, there you are. Ben isn't available. It's up. Okay, I seen it. Accept. Okay, let's see. Let me turn this music down. We did it. Peace unto you. So what brings you here?
Hey, what's up, man?
Peace unto you. What brings you to soul investing?
Well, I wasn't really searching. I was just scrolling and your live popped up.
Oh yeah, we are very, very grateful. I'm curious. What led you to staying here? Is there anything that you would like to share that like you seen or recognized that you felt was worthy of your presence?
Well, I just saw a person made in the image of God, so I decided to pop in.
Well,
And,
hey, I'm very, very, very grateful, Ben. Hey, it's just something I was
as I'm doing this, I'm gonna be very transparent with you. As I stand in this energy, especially today, because I was in the spirit world and I was talking to God, and even when I came to my waking body, I was meditating and I'm talking to God. I'm like, there's something that I'm missing. There's something I have to change. I literally didn't get out my bed until like maybe like 10:30, 10:40, and I was like, something has to change, and I gotta own up to who I am. And then all of this is happening, and so I could clearly see it works.
Yep.
But I'm definitely grateful to be here today as a new day.
Yep.
And is there anything on your heart that you would like to share? Because I don't know why I'm so excited of your presence. So I'm like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, me personally, growing up, I didn't go to any church or believe in God or anything like that. But my life kind of got worse and worse and worse, and I was getting more and more depressed and suicidal, all that type of stuff. And I didn't believe in anything. And then one night, I had this encounter where felt like I was being taken away, consumed by evil spirits, something that I've never felt before. And I called on the name of Jesus, and it all went away. And I've been seeking God, seeking God, seeking Jesus. And so I just came up here to say I believe that that man that lived on the earth all those years ago, Jesus Christ, he's God in the flesh, and he died for the sins of the world, and he's my Lord and Savior.
all right, well that's very beautiful. We're very grateful you were able to get that off. What I will do is what we call spirituify what you just said. So what Ben just said is hey, the live just got restricted. That's hilarious because they thought my stage was tobacco. Hilarious. The tone is clear, but I say skip. Just not okay. But just hit that. All right, but who cares? Talking to y'all. So what Ben just said, though it can be looked at in a religious context, when we look at it from what we consider a hawk perspective, what can be extracted from what he is saying is when he was going through what you would consider a tower moment. This is like spiritual language or spiritual lingo. They call it like tower moments. When you're going through your tower moments, we're going through an ego death, or we are going through hardship in life, and you're at your very limit. He said that he called on Jesus, and as we call Yeshua, as some call the Christ force. And based on his acknowledgement and call in from a real place in a real way of that soul spirit, then he received the abundance that he sees as serving in that moment and even now for him to even speak to other people would say, hey, y'all should do something similar, if not the same as what I did, because that is what saved me. So from a deeper perspective, what happened, and I can speak from experience to this because I went through what is considered to be the Christ trials in the astral realm. One of Jesus's, I guess you can consider it classes. I'm saying the word class for human transcription is not really like a class. It's really just like a, hey, are you willing, yes or no? And if you're not, then that's what it is. But if you are, that's what it is. But when I was speaking with Yeshua, and I'm talking about face to face, and we're going through a part of the very beginning of the classes. What Yeshua told me to be a Christ is you have to understand that you actually aren't saving people. All you're doing is guiding them to see what God sees in them as them. That should be your main goal. So the fact that I'm telling y'all this is like by the will of Source, God the Source, y'all get activated from what I'm telling you because this is Christ level teaching. I'm not going to be able to tell you the entire thing because a lot of the teachings involved me stepping into Jesus's body. That's how these ascended masters and stuff teach. That's like also that's like intermediate, like the middle of the course. Once you can pass the first trials, then ascended masters. I met Moses, Buddha, Jesus. What they do is they say the best way for me to teach you is for you to become me, and it also emphasizes that we are all one. And there is a lot of verses in the Bible where Jesus talks about you and I are the same and we're one and stuff like that. But quite literally, he guided me to be him in a particular time, and that I'll get to that story later. But what you have to understand about a Christ level presence is beings that are of Christ. How you can spot if someone is of Christ conscious is if their end goal isn't to prop themselves up and for you to recognize them, but it's for you to recognize who you already are. Because our goal as Christ is not to save you. Our goal is to get you to seeing yourself as God sees you. That's it. Because if you see yourself as God sees you, for example, you may see yourself as unwhole, but God sees you as holy. So guess what happens? If you see yourself as unwhole, if you see yourself as, for example, in the Jesus story, I think his name is Pilate, ear sliced off, right? All Jesus is doing in that moment is stepping into a frequency to adjust Pilate's reflection and perception. So now, because you see me as God, you're seeing yourself as God sees you. So guess what? Your ear actually didn't leave. And this is actually how transformation happens, because you also have to understand, even aside from a Christ teaching or a teacher's teaching, when you're going through like motivational talks, or you're experiencing like gym teachers or just any form of teacher, all we're doing is providing you knowledge, and you have to be the one to apply it, because we can't jump in your body on earth and do the things for you. So it is really you that's changing your life from a scientific level and a spiritual level. But to explain more what happens, because I too, Ben, has had a story where I tested, because I understand my power. I actually tested these beings, and I called on Yeshua one day, and he came, and I was surprised, very surprised, in the manner in which he came. So I know firsthand that when you're truly in that frequency, you call for that being, it will appear. But what happens when you call a being in, like Yeshua, for example, is spirits, they see your thoughts. They see your thoughts and they see your frequency. These are the two things you have to understand how spirits perceive. Spirits see your thoughts and they see your frequency. You can say, how can they see my thoughts? Well, even if they only see your frequency, they see your thoughts, because the specific type of thoughts that you have adjust your frequency. Proof of this, well, there's scientific proof of auras, and there's certain machines that can show you how your aura is, and based on how your mood is, certain brain scans and chemicals pop off, and based on those brain scans and chemicals, your aura changes colors and morphs in a different shape, stuff like that. That's all scientifically proven, and that's like, you can look up YouTube videos and videos on that type of stuff, and those videos seem like they're like 10, 20, 30 years old. So we've been through this. But these beings see your thoughts just from your frequency, because based on what you think, your frequency changes. Biometric field. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Or the words I was looking for. Biometric field. So if you're thinking negative or you're thinking lustful, your frequency is going to adjust to that, and you're actually going to attract those things. But because Ben and me, when I called on Yeshua in that moment, and understand, I'm not no Christian. Understand, I know how to separate Jesus from Christianity, because he himself wasn't a Christian. Though that is, we still have to respect the master that he was, because he wouldn't be talked about if he wasn't respected or did even one thing that they said he did. But the reason why that happens is because when you let go of this world, you actually are closer to Christ consciousness, or what I call in my school, or mystery school, God's will. You are closer to Christ consciousness, aka God's will, than you may know. Because the point of Christ consciousness is, of the flesh, I am nothing. Well, of the flesh, I am nothing actually means far more than just those words. It doesn't just revolve. And I learned all of this from Christ trials. And you have to also understand that Jesus is not the only Christ. He is just one of the Christ, the first Christ to achieve Christ consciousness on earth. There are many different Christs from different realms and planets, but he's the first one to do it on earth. And the reason why it's so special that he was the first one to do it on earth is because earth, from a galactic perspective, is one of the hardest schools. You can hear teachers like Bashar. Bashar is a world-renowned channeler. You can hear teachers like Michael Murdad. Michael Murdad was said to be the person to create the term light worker. There's very, very powerful people. We all know that Earth is one of the hardest schools in spirituality, period. And you're telling us that a person was able to achieve God consciousness on Earth? How? Who? So that's why he's highlighted. But when I went through my Christ trials, he came first, because how spirits work is they look at your thoughts, they look at your consciousness, and their goal is to not scare you. So they're not going to send me a Pleiadian that became a Christ. They're going to send me a human that became a Christ, because that's more relatable. Especially the first one. It's the best one, because I'm on Earth. But when you remove yourself from this world, how it happens typically, there's like two ways. You can either be very sad, like he was saying, suicidal, and the fact that the live got restricted, I could just go now. I can just say words. I don't have to hide or go beat around the bush. But you can be like, like they was talking about suicidal. I too had not those specific ideations, but I definitely had thoughts of like, why am I even here? And the thoughts of why am I even here can lead to suicide. But when you're in that energy, when you're in sadness, when you're in depression, when you're in give up energy, or when you're in total awareness, when you're in excitement, when you're in imagination, when you're in that frequency, those two things can separate you from the world. Of the flesh I have nothing. It will allow you to live that statement, that verse. And the reason why imagination and all of these properties give you that separation from this world is because imagination is not of this world. When beings like Yeshua say, be like a child, they're telling you, do not allow your imagination to die. What makes a child is their imagination. Because your imagination is very, very powerful. From imagination comes visualization, comes invention, comes new techniques, comes excitement. That's all from imagination. So when you, in conclusion, when you reach that frequency, that state, you're actually attracting beings like Yeshua. And then when you call their name, names are very, very powerful. When you call their name, even though Yeshua ain't Yeshua's name, even though Jesus ain't his name, the frequency is far beyond the name. But those names have been associated with them for so long, he knows what you're talking about, especially if in your mind you have an idea of who you're speaking of and you're being very conscious. When you call that name and you're already attracting his frequency, then he comes and then he does what he does best. So that's like the long spiritualified version of what happened to me and Ben.
Well, for me, the spirit that changed me, that saved me, that was the Holy Spirit alone for me. And for me, I believe that Jesus is the Christ, and nobody else is, because he's the only one that lived the perfect life and was able to be the sacrifice for the sins of the world, So for me, I believe faith in Jesus, the Christ, gets you into heaven, But in the Holy Spirit, on the cross, Jesus defeated all the devil, all the evil spirits, and then he gives us the Holy Spirit to sanctify us for the kingdom of heaven.
Yes, most definitely. So we're gonna conclude on that, Ben, and I'm gonna actually expound more on what you were speaking of.
So you don't believe that Jesus gets you into heaven?
You said what happened?
Do you believe that Jesus gets you into heaven?
Gets you to what?
Heaven.
Oh, heaven. No. Because quite literally, Luke 17:21, he says the kingdom of heaven is in you already.
No, he said the kingdom of God. That's from when you get the Holy Spirit. That's the kingdom of God in you, and it sanctifies you.
And this is the thing about that. Kingdom of God and kingdom of heaven are one and the same, because it's either two things. It's either God exists in heaven, or God exists in a place that's near heaven, and heaven is the place that can lead you to God. So no matter how you shake it or jive it, if the kingdom of God is within you, or the kingdom of heaven is within you already, there's nothing that I can provide to you as Jesus. All Jesus can do is live a life through example to show you what's already in you.
Yeah, but then who is going to atone for our sins?
So this is where you get the clear distinction of a spiritual perspective or truth perspective and a religious perspective, which is the path of truth. So the distinction is, do you feel that you are already living a life of sin and you just were born in sin? Or do you feel like, no, you have a choice, and the choices that you
Uh,
have, if you deem them as not serving or serving, then that's sin.
I
That's the clear distinction.
I believe in my free will in my lifetime. I have chosen to sin and broken all the commandments of God, and I need the blood of Jesus to wash me clean and the Spirit of God to sanctify me to atone for my
Okay,
sins.
yes. And that's and it's and if you truly feel that way, and if your reality reflects that to you, then and so it is. But what you say in the very beginning is your free will. So you allow your free will to allow that to be so. And
So, are
I
you
think
saying
it's
you have not sinned?
no, I actually haven't. Because we actually break down what sin is, and you compare it with my life. I too have lived a perfect life. Because you have people have to also understand what a perfect
Have you
life
ever told
means.
a lie?
So listen, I'm gonna break it down for you.
Just yes or no. Have you ever
What
told a
people have
lie?
to understand, hold on, let me finish my thought. What people have to understand is a perfect life in comparison to what will lead you to enlightenment, what will lead you to God, what will lead you to recognizing the kingdom of heaven within you. And a perfect life as it pertains to earthly morals are two complete different things. Everybody in here in the live, are you able to recognize that there is a clear difference between living a perfect human life and a perfect holy life? There's a big difference. I have lived a perfect holy life. I live a perfect holy life. I have not lived a perfect human life, but you don't have to be a perfect human to live a perfect holy life. Insert saying, of the flesh I am nothing. The flesh doesn't matter. And in one of Jesus's disciples quite literally said in one of the verses, I'm gonna be paraphrasing ever so slightly. He was speaking to somebody, and this person was telling him all the wondrous things that they've done for the world. And this one of Jesus' disciples told him, "That's like giving me like a bloody towel, like a when women have their periods and stuff like that. It's like that's like giving me a menstrual towel. What you do as a human has nothing to do with your holiness. That's in the Bible. So this is
Well, the
where the
Bible
clear
says we
this is
have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
yeah, you can believe that, but you also have to address what I said. What I said is actually in the Bible. There is a clear difference between a human life, a perfect human life, and a perfect holy life. You can smoke weed, you can stab people, you can do all of this as a human. But you can also, in one moment, be on the cross with Yeshua, and in one moment, be sanctified and perfect as a holy life. And then,
Well,
like
that's what
Jesus says to
Jesus
the
did
thief.
on the cross that will
And
wash you
like
clean.
this is all part of the stories. You can be a thief, live a what is considered not to be a perfect human life, but because you make a clear distinction that a perfect holy life is different than a perfect human life, you will be able to amount and amass all that is required in terms of realization, epiphany, revelation, and abundance to live a perfect holy life. That's the clear distinction and difference. And this is what a lot of Christians don't actually get. And this is why I'm a very beautiful person as it pertains to bridging with Christians, because I tell them stuff that's actually in their own Bible. And I learn this stuff just to cross, because I learned it myself, but reading the Bible myself. But then I also go out and do my due diligence to listen to Christian scholars. A lot of Christians, they have never even heard of a Christian scholar or even listened to a Christian scholar. So I reckon, because of what a Christian scholar, for example, listen to Wesley Huff on the Joe Rogan podcast, and the stuff that he says is parallel to what I say, your mind would be blown. Because what a Christian scholar is a person that actually dedicates himself to the religion. A Christian scholar is a historian. It's a historian first and a Christian second. That's who Christians are. Christian scholars are. Rather, they're historians first, Christians second. The reason why they are historians first is because they have to make sure my religion is the best religion and I have the facts to prove it. In order for you to have the facts to prove it, you have to be a historian to be in positions to find the facts, find the scrolls, find the artifacts, find all of that to prove the existence of your religion, right? So when you listen to Wesley Huff, a Christian scholar who claimed, and I'm not here to say any religion is the best religion. I'm not of religion. I don't care, quite frankly. But what I will do is highlight the things that should be highlighted and disqualify the things that should be disqualified. But Wesley Huff, for example, talks about all these stories that I'm telling you about. But the one thing that all Christians, it's like a trigger. It's like a program that's in their brain that they don't allow themselves to look at it for what it is. And that trigger is, there is a clear distinction between a holy life, a perfect holy life, and a perfect human life. And your goal in this life is not to have a perfect human life, because of the flesh you are nothing. There is no such thing as a perfect human life. Kind of like what they said, one of Jesus' disciples said to the one lady that said, I did this and I did this on earth for all these people. He was like, those things, you so supposedly healing people and doing all of that, that's the same thing to giving me a period towel. It's nothing. A perfect holy life has nothing to do with what you do with humanity. So when you ask me, are you saying you lived a perfect holy life? Are you saying that you amounted to what Jesus did? Yes, actually. Jesus told me that. Because I went to the Christ trials in the astral world and actually learned from not only Jesus,
so
but
you
all
talk to
the other
spirits?
Christ. Do I talk to spirits? I'm talking
Yeah.
to you. I'm talking to you.
I know, but like spirits that are not physical.
Spirits that are not physical, yes.
Have you
can
ever
Mhm.
seen in the Bible where it says that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light?
Yes, and have you also seen in the Bible that it talks of angels in general? Since we're on the topic of angels.
Yeah, there's angels.
Right. What are angels? Spirits.
Yeah.
Right. So now this is where we have to break free from the human ego. And that's not the human ego. The human ego, and I don't know if you have this or not, but I know people do have this as it pertains to thinking that humans are the only ones in the world or in the universe. That's a human thing. That translates to a lot of Christians when we talk about angels, because they think angels are their only spirits, and that's like, and then that's just known. The only spirit. It's only angels, demons, humans, and then God. Are you? That's a very egotistical thing to think. Very egotistical thing to think. And I'm not saying that you think that. I'm just making sure
Wait, say that. I believe. Yeah. Well, I believe there's obviously human beings made in the image of God. You got God, and then there's angels, and then the fallen angels, which are demonic spirits.
Right. Okay. So cool. So what we have to also understand, in addition to this, so what you're saying, aside from the demon thing, because from my experience of actually being in the spirit world, demons are not real. They're just projections of our.
Well, they want.
And proof of
liars.
this is.
They're
You said
liars.
what? They're what?
The demons are liars. They want you to think that they're helping you and they're good and lead you away from the truth, the sacrifice of Jesus Christ.
Okay, now hold on. No, stop right there. This is important. We have to address what you're saying as they're coming. And now we get to my original point. If you do research on history, when you talk about the word demon and sayings that include the word demon, everybody, let me know if you heard of this. Have you ever heard of the term face your demons? Have y'all ever heard of the term face your demons? Do y'all know that term is like hundreds of years old? Face your demons. Why did that term exist? Why does that term exist? Face your demons. Because what ancient beings knew is demons are actually you, and you have to face them. Be face to face with your demons, like a mirror. It's symbolic, and it's like a parable for a mirror. Be face to face with your demons. Only you can face them because they are you. So and now to get to the original point, we have to get out of the idea of thinking that it's only angels and then fallen angels that now have a title of demon, because that is so egotistical. People have to understand the power of ideology. Ideology, if you say there is no other non-physical being besides angels, that is the same ideology of saying humans are the only beings that exist in the universe. But then when you go to the book of Enoch, which is also highlighted, and many Christian scholars talk about the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch, they say, is omitted from the Bible, the canonized Bible. It was at one point in the Bible. It's in the Ethiopian Bible and some other ones. But the reason why the official people took it out of the canonized version of the Bible, the book of Enoch, is because they said it doesn't matter because it doesn't address the new age. It only addresses the old age, and the old information we don't really need to know. That right there just screams control, because who are you to tell us what we should and should not know? One. But what they did say, however, is the book of Enoch is important. So we chose to include his name for anyone to try to reference the book of Enoch, but we're not going to include it in the canonized version of the Bible because that does not address the current trials and tribulations the current age deals with. I can understand their logic, but still, this is where you have to come in with an open mind and say, religion is based upon control. So yes, the principles that they teach can be very beneficial. Yes, a good Christian and a good Muslim are some of the greatest people you will ever meet, the people that actually listen to the doctrine. Very, very good people. But we also have to also understand, in addition to that, that man, the same man that Jesus said, of the flesh I am nothing, created the Bible. We also have to understand that King James, alongside all of these other beings, are a part of the same bloodline that have done nothing but control and torment people. When you just start at King James and you start at his bloodline and go forward and go backwards, you will find the same families control and torment the world. So at some point, you have to recognize, yes, a good Christian and a good Muslim are some of the greatest people you would ever meet because the principles that's in this book is wonderful. I also have to recognize what's holy in this book and what's not holy in this book. That is what will clearly separate you. And then for proof of this, there's not a single verse where Jesus Christ says, follow religion, be a Christian, walk in the Bible, because Jesus never made a book.
Well, Jesus said, I am the way.
Exactly. And stop right there. We're going to highlight that point. I'm so happy you said that. That's literally why my name is the way.
But you're not Jesus.
I'm another Christ. I don't need to be Jesus. Jesus was perfect.
But you're not sinless.
Jesus was perfect for the Pisces age. I am perfect for the Aquarius age. You also have to understand that.
So I got a question for you.
Hold on. I'm going to address your first point, but hold that question because I'm loving this conversation. I'm going to make my point quick. So because you have to understand that, you also have to come to the conclusion that if there is one lie in the Bible, then you cannot say the Bible is a holy book.
There is not one lie in the Bible.
There is.
What?
Oh my God. God is a judgmental God. Or God can produce actions that revolve.
God judges in the end. Which is why we need Jesus to cover our sin.
Or God can provide actions that are hateful and judging. That's the first lie.
Well, right? Hold on. If you die, can you yourself raise yourself up from the dead?
Yes. I actually have a whole class on it. I was taught by Jesus. It's called through spirit memory. So because you asked this question, I'm going to give you a real answer. And you don't have to accept it or not, but just know in your soul, you can go cross-reference the information and do research. There's power in your hands. So this is precisely why Yeshua, a.k.a. Jesus Christ, utilized Reiki a lot. The fact that y'all even getting this knowledge...
Jesus did not use Reiki.
Reiki is the way of the hands. Yes, he is. And this is just literally what it is. When you place your hands upon Pilate's sliced off ear, and an ear reappears, you are utilizing the property of Reiki, because Reiki
that was the power of God.
Way of the hands. Listen, this is what it is. You can go look it up. This is just normal spiritual stuff. Reiki literally means way of the hands. Is allowing all that is God to be focused in your hands. That is what Reiki is.
But Jesus didn't ever say Reiki. He said, I'm doing the will of my Father, who is God.
So if I say words that enlighten you, and I don't tell you I'm teaching you, does that not mean I'm teaching you? No. Just because I do not say a word that you identify with, now also know that these beings spoke a different language. Let's start there. They spoke a different language. So you have to be either extremely egotistical or just uninformed, and we forgive you if you're uninformed, to think that you're going to find Jesus say an English word when he spoke not English. One, then two, you have to be either ignorant or uninformed, and we will forgive you if you are uninformed, to think that the spiritual practice of which is called Reiki, which literally means way of the hands, is not what Jesus did if he was quite literally using his hands in the same way that all these other masters use. And then, as the icing on the cake to prove this, Christian scholars, I really advise you to go watch Wesley Huff's Joe Rogan podcast, A Christian Scholar, because he brings facts. Christian scholars now finally have the documents and history that says Jesus went to ancient mystery schools in Egypt, and that's why God called him out of Egypt. And in the history, don't believe me? Listen to your scholars. And I'm so happy it was literally God vindicating all spiritual people that ever said magic is the way. Because magic is not good or bad.
Jesus is the way.
Magic is, I'm talking about in context and reference to the conversation. Magic is the way as it pertains to if you want to heal someone in the context of healing somebody sliced off.
But what about in Revelation?
Hold on, let me no.
Jesus says
don't go
the
there yet.
sorcerers will be in the lake of fire.
Don't run away from the proof, because this is in your history. Yeah, look, do research. I shouldn't have to be the one telling people about the Christian history, but I also understand that a lot of people don't have the time to look at their Christian history. This is why I tell people to go watch Wesley Huff on the Joe Rogan podcast, because I'm telling you actual Christian history. And you can either believe it or not, but you're not a Christian if you do not see what I'm saying is true. Because you can listen to me or go to the Joe Rogan podcast and listen to Wesley Huff, a Christian scholar, say it. Jesus Christ went into Egypt to learn from ancient mystery schools. And in the history, people, in the history, no one batted an eye at Jesus doing magic, because per Wesley Huff and every other Christian scholar that actually revealed the text, everybody that came out of mystery schools in Egypt performed magic. So Jesus was not special because he can walk on water. Jesus was not special because he did Reiki, because everybody did that. That came out of the mystery schools in Egypt. The reason why people batted an eye at Jesus per the history is because he claimed to be the Son of God. That is the actual history. That's the actual history. Don't believe me? Go to a Christian scholar, Wesley Huff, Joe Rogan podcast, and listen to them and have your mind be blown. Or you can just listen to me, another Son of God. Because you also have to understand that every age, I'm pretty sure you heard of the saying, nothing new is under the sun.
Yep.
Every age, the same energy presents itself. It just adapts to what the current age is. I am the new Jesus. I am not Jesus. I am Nadiie. And the thing about the Aquarius age that makes it so powerful, and the reason why so many dark forces is in this age, is because per the prophecy of the Aquarius age, is the entire planet of humanity is going to be like Jesus. And a lot of dark beings do not want that to happen. And proof of this is there is a specific reason why Jesus in John 14:12 said, "You shall do what I do and greater works than I," quite literally. You shall do what I do. In order to do what the Christ did, you have to be the Christ, because he's speaking in current tense. And greater works than I.
You need the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. You need the Holy Spirit. I'm with you there. I'm Native American. We talk about the Holy Spirit and the holy people a whole lot. A lot of people think Christians and religion took the word holy. No, holy has existed since Native Americans and before. So the Holy Spirit is extremely important. Don't ever think the Holy Spirit is a Christian thing. That's the worst thing you can do, because that's the trick. So this new age is so incredibly important, because the entire planet is prophesied to be like Jesus. And when Jesus said in John 14:12, "You shall do what I do and greater works than I," the greater works than I is a prophecy, because even Jesus is not so egotistical to say, "I'm the only way, and when I die..."
He said, "I am the way."
Let me finish the thought. What I'm saying is, in context and reference to the conversation, Jesus is not egotistical to say, "I am the only way, and when I die, earth is doomed." That's what I was saying. No.
Well, he saved the world.
Jesus is saying what he represents is the way. His actions is the way. His thoughts is the way. The way he speaks is the way.
Well,
the
he
way
said, "I am the way."
Exactly. But you have to break down what that means. You can't say as a human, "I am the way," and you do not know what that means.
I am the way is saying the way I talk is the way I operate is the way I think is the way, because you have to know Jesus was a human. The worst thing, and I already know I'm bridging with you a little bit because I'm saying actual historical text that Christian scholars back up, and you can go research after this live and have your mind blown. What you have to understand about a human is Jesus is a human, and the worst thing a lot of Christians do
He's also God.
The worst thing that a lot of Christians do, and I'm going to get to your point, is they do not humanize Jesus. You are quite literally going against God, as y'all say, if you do not humanize Jesus. Because what did the text, hold on, what did the text say? The text say Jesus did not reach Christ until 33. So what was he doing for 32 years? And who was he for 32 years? He was a human that did magic, that had the wherewithal to know
Jesus
God
didn't do magic. I got a challenge. I see you're inquisitive about all this stuff. So I got a challenge for you.
Okay.
The next time you're talking in the spirit realm, talking to spirits,
Yes.
ask them to say the name of Jesus Christ and see if they can do it.
Many beings can, yes. And
Oh,
I will tell you why. I've actually done this before, and I will tell you why they can. They tell me they can say Jesus, they can say Yeshua, they can say Christ. Why? Because those names are English dialect, and the way communication happens in the spirit does not revolve around the mouth or English. You have to be incredibly egotistical to think that English is the most holiest language in the history of language, and that spirits cannot say English. You have to be extremely egotistical, because spirits in the spirit realm, they primarily communicate telepathically, and they also communicate through presence. One reason why Jesus would say, may my presence be enough, is because his presence is enough. One reason why Buddha says my presence is enough. One reason why I say my presence is enough, because our presence is enough. When I walk in a room, energy shifts. So in the spirit world, Jesus can walk in, Yeshua can walk in a room, and you get a whole conversation downloaded. They don't need to speak with their tongue. And now, what you have to also understand is,
Wait, so you said
you're
you're like Jesus, right? Like you're a Christ, right?
Yeah, I'm another Christ. I passed Christ's trials, and I have the backing to
So
prove it.
Jesus, did many prophecies and did predict his own death and resurrection and all this.
Yeah.
So tell me one thing that's going to happen tomorrow.
My question to that would be, does a prophet mean that you are a Christ? Or does prophecy mean you are Christ?
No.
Okay, so stay right there. Hold on, stay right there. Stay right there. You just said no. If prophecy does not mean you're a Christ, then why are you putting that as your equation to find out if I'm a Christ or not? If that doesn't actually equate to you being a Christ.
There's only one Christ.
That's only your perspective, and I have the proof to prove it, and I've already proved it. And the proof it even more. Hold on, let me prove it even more. To prove it even more, it said that Jesus did not. And everybody, watch. His mind gonna be blown, and he's either gonna accept it or not. And y'all mind gonna be blown if y'all didn't know this. Y'all said that Jesus didn't attain Christ until 33 years old. Let's look up the word attain. Let's look up the word attain, since we love English so much.
I never said that.
I'm not saying
always the Christ.
I'm talking about the stories entirely, because that's what it is. Attain quite literally means a success in achievement.
No, he was always the Christ.
No, that's not. No. That's not what the actual book says. That's not what the actual book says. That is not.
Read it to me where he says he becomes the Christ at 33. Read me the scripture.
I am just telling you what.
It doesn't exist, man.
I'm telling you
these people have lied to you and told you to talk to demons and make you feel in control. Jesus will save your soul. There is no other way.
Look. You're saying, look, and I know that you've heard this. And all of these texts and dialogue as it pertains to Christianity and as it pertains to Jesus, we're awakening. They say he did not achieve Christ consciousness until age 33.
None of those texts are the Bible.
And that's when he started.
Christ consciousness isn't a thing. There's only one Christ.
And he did not start his ministry.
His ministry.
And his ministry
he was always the Christ.
Is Christ consciousness. And if you actually
his ministry is the kingdom of God.
Listen. Jesus did not attain Christ consciousness until 33, and once he had the authority from God, which is being a Christ at the age of 33, that is when he started his ministry, because now he is ordained as a Christ to start
teaching. That is in the Bible. That is backed by Christian scholars. Go listen to Wesley Huff on the Joe Rogan podcast. You who are walking in the path of light, holiness, and God do not have the authority to wake someone up, to bring holiness to another, until you yourself have waken yourself up and has brought holiness to yourself.
It's the Holy Spirit.
No, answer that. Address what I just said. If you would like to enlighten someone, don't you have to be enlightened yourself? Yes or no?
Yeah. What do you mean by
exactly?
You're not enlightened. You need Jesus Christ.
So hold on.
All of your enlightening has come from your own thoughts.
If you just said yes, a person who is teaching enlightenment cannot teach it.
I'm not teaching enlightenment. I'm not talking
about you. I'm not talking about you. We're talking about Jesus, because you just established that in order for you to teach enlightenment, you have to be enlightened. Because I can't teach you how to have a six-pack if I'm fat. So, because of that, if Jesus didn't start his teachings until 33, where we all universally say that's when he achieved Christ consciousness, because that's when all the miracles was happening. That's when all the intense magic was happening. He wasn't doing any of the.
He wasn't doing magic, things. Man. And he was doing the power of God.
No. Yes, he actually was. It's in your book. It's in Christianity. Go to the Joe Rogan podcast. Look up the Wesley Huff interview. A Christian scholar.
It. He did not say Jesus does magic. I've seen it.
Hey, no. You did not see it, because you are ignoring the fact and not highlighting and owning and accepting the fact that a Christian scholar with all his backings and all these other Christian scholars also said, yes, in the history, Jesus was a traveling magician. That was the word that literally.
He's not a traveling magician. He's God in the flesh.
That's the verbatim word. If you watched you say you watched it. So did you just lie to me? Did you watch the Joe Rogan podcast with Wesley?
Yeah, I watched it. He never said Jesus does magic.
Oh, so you never say he's a traveling magician? Oh my God! I'm about to pull it up then. I'm gonna pull it up. And while I pull it up and blow everybody's mind, right? He quite literally said that. He quite literally said, everybody, make sure you go watch the Joe.
Everybody has sinned. I don't even
listen. The fact that he said that, it lets me know that he probably didn't even watch it. Because he quite literally, it was in the middle of the podcast, he quite literally said, per the history, Jesus learned from ancient mystery schools in Egypt. And per the history, nobody was actually, 9 views of rage bait. This is nothing groundbreaking. I'm not trying to be groundbreaking here. I'm bridging. This is the difference. Hold on, Ben. This is the difference between me and you, Honey Dory. I love Ben enough to give him the truth. You love no one enough, so you withhold the information. You don't love yourself enough to even think that this is not groundbreaking. You don't love yourself enough to think that bridging isn't groundbreaking. So what you also have to understand is my goal here today is not to shatter Ben's reality. My goal here today is plant the seed and give him the proof of what his own Christian scholars and actual history says. Because once Ben goes out, because listen, you have to also understand, Honey Dory, the claims that I have, I'm another son of God, I'm another Christ. People batted an eye at Jesus when he said it per the history. So of course, Ben is going to bat an eye as well. So I'm not expecting Ben to either accept or believe what I'm saying right now. That's quite literally stupid for me to think that Ben's going to just say, okay, yes, no, because he has been years and years and years and years into this religion, and he has had a personal spiritual experience where he claims that Jesus saved his life. So the worst thing I can do is try to step on that, but what I can do is give him the truth. Now, Honey Dory, if you are in a position where you're judging and you say that this isn't groundbreaking, if you say that bridging with another person isn't groundbreaking, if you think that it's not worth it to try to bridge with somebody or give them the truth, then you are sadly mistaken and you don't love yourself. This is what separates me, a Christ, from you, your ego. Because a Christ, we don't judge anybody. And I'll meet you where you are. A Christ, for example, like Jesus, will go to what is, as of today, the strip clubs and speak to the prostitutes and speak to all these people and get them the same level of love and holiness that he does to his disciples. And in the same breath, speak to them in the way that they would like to be spoken to. That's what a Christ does. A Christ
has the only intention of bringing you the truth, because I know this truth will lead you back to God. And when you follow this truth, you recognize you never actually left God, because I didn't give you something you didn't already have. This is precisely why Jesus would say in John 14:12, you shall do what I do in greater works than I, and in Luke 17:21, the kingdom of heaven / God is within you. Because I can't give you something that's already within you. And if God is everything, if God is all, if God is me and then some, if that is inside of you, then you are everything I am and more. The only people that act like, if the only people, the only people that act like, hold on, I'm gonna get to your claim, because I did not say that. I literally just said the verse. So you gotta take that up with Jesus, not me. The verse, Luke 17:21, is the kingdom of heaven / God is within you. So you either have to
the
be
Holy Spirit, but you have to be. Hold on, you believe in Jesus.
Hold on. That's not what he said.
Yes, it is.
I'm talking to Honey Dory. You have to be extremely egotistical, Honey Dory, to hear something like that from a master and think, if God is everything, and this person who is living a perfect example of this reflection is saying that God is inside of me. And not only is God inside of me, the entire kingdom of God is inside of me. All of it is inside of me. And last time I checked, kings live in their kingdom, because without a king, you have no kingdom. A lot of people don't understand metaphors and parables. People don't understand why Jesus spoke in metaphors and parables. People don't understand why Jesus said heaven is like a kingdom, like metaphors and parables. A lot of people don't use common sense as it pertains to Jesus. A lot of people, they don't say, they think that Jesus is not smart as he is. And that is ridiculous. A lot of people don't think Jesus is as smart as he actually is. A lot of people don't think that Jesus actually has common sense. A lot of people think that Jesus is intentionally being complex, yet in the same breath says be as a child. If a person says be as a child, then that means his teaching is so simple a child can understand. So a lot of people don't actually think that Jesus means what he says. If Jesus quite literally is saying what he's saying, why do you think in your egotistical mindset? And now, Honey Dory, you already agree with me. We already bridged. That's cool. Now I'm talking to the entire energy. I'm talking to the entire life. I'm talking to anybody that's ever skipped past this life or watching that ever has learned about Jesus. And I'm not no Christian, but I've learned from the Christ Force. I really learned from the Christ Force, and I learned these knowledges firsthand.
Then what is the Christ Force?
You have to be. Hold on, because you got 2 points. You asked me if I'm God, and you asked me that. So I'm gonna address both of them. I haven't forgot about you. But I'm addressing the live like I addressed you. You have to be extremely egotistical to think Jesus does not mean what he says. And you have to be extremely egotistical to think that you have to contextualize what he's saying. A lot of people, they hear...
Is it egotistical to claim to be the Christ?
You said what?
Is it egotistical to make yourself the Christ?
We're going to get to that. That's another good question. A very, very good question. You have to be...
man, I gotta hop off. I gotta go, man.
Okay. All right, you as well. You have to be extremely egotistical to think that Jesus does not speak plainly. Does not speak plainly. If the being quite literally says the kingdom of heaven is within you, the kingdom of God is within you, and you shall do what he does in greater works than I, that's what he's saying. A lot of people in the Christian community, a lot of people in religious communities, a lot of these people, they want to tell you what he means as if he didn't mean what he said. And that's foolish. Now, to answer Ben's 3 questions, and then we can move on to a different topic. To answer Ben's 3 questions, Christ means the anointed one. Anyone could be Christ if they did the work. Exactly, Rose. Literally, exactly. Jesus laid the groundwork. It's up to you to do the work. Exactly. So, to answer Ben's 3 questions, first he says, am I God? He said that when I said the verse, the kingdom of God is within you, kingdom of heaven is within you. He's going to have to take that up with Jesus, because that's what Jesus said in the story. Because when you use logic and you use common sense, which a lot of Christians do not do, a lot of them do not do. The good Christians and good Muslims, they understand logic, they understand common sense, they understand they have to actually be disciplined and do the work. They just can't say they follow somebody and then live their life like they don't. The logic and common sense tells you, if a person says the kingdom of heaven and or God is within you, let's just start right there, the kingdom of God. If the kingdom of God is within you, what is a kingdom? A kingdom is a sect of land with a king. Without a king, you don't have a kingdom. Therefore, if the kingdom of God is within you, then God too is within you, because God as the king in this parable metaphor has to be in the kingdom, or you don't have a kingdom that's actually within you. That is how kingdoms work. Does that make sense, everybody? Can I get a yes or no? Does that make sense, everybody? If to make a kingdom, the requirement is to have a king, and someone says the kingdom of God is within you, and that being made sure to say is the kingdom of God, then that means God is within you, because the kingdom is within you, and you do not have a kingdom without a king. So if the kingdom of God was within you and God ain't within you, you just have a dumb. You just dumb. You don't have a kingdom, you just dumb. Now, the second question Ben asked, I know he asked 3. The third one may or may not come if it serves to say, but I do know he asked, isn't it egotistical to he said, like, he worded it in a very individualistic way. He said, isn't it egotistical to claim you are the Christ? But in the way he said it was individualistic, as if I'm the one that's saying it because it's of me that is saying it. In my response to that question, is it egotistical to want to be a Christ or claim to be a Christ? Right. It's not egotistical to say what the truth is. The best way to match questions like that is with another question. If someone like him asks me, isn't it egotistical to claim that you are a Christ? I would say, is it egotistical to say the truth? Or was Jesus egotistical for saying he's the Son of God? Was Buddha egotistical for saying he meditated under the tree for 7 days? Was Dr. Sebi egotistical for saying he fasted for a month? Was Dick Gregory egotistical for saying he's a comedian? It's not egotistical to say what the truth is. Now, what you also have to know about this is people don't have a true parameter, and I may, and everybody, I might restart the live, but I'm gonna say this to y'all, and I'm gonna restart the live, and I'm gonna get back to getting this book to the people. But because y'all been here so long and gonna rock with me, I'm gonna make sure I give you all this knowledge before I go in. And on top of that, before we leave, I will pull up the Joe Rogan interview and show you Wesley Huff saying Jesus was a traveling magician. So give me some time, because y'all might gonna be like, Brad, he did say it. He was like, he's either a walking or traveling magician. So people don't actually have a parameter of what a Christ is. And this is the issue. People's parameter of what a Christ is in their brain, in most people's brain, in most Christians' brain, in most religious people's brain, is just Jesus. And that is very foolish. Because how do you have a Christ force, a energy that existed before Christ, and he attained it at 33? So Christ already existed before he was there, and after he's gone. How do you have it already there, right? And just because Jesus was one of the first people to do it on earth, now he's just the Christ. And you gotta be, that's it, him. Doesn't even make sense, because the Christ existed before him. So there were other ways to get to Christ than what Jesus did. Jesus just did it in a very hard time, in a very specific way, utilizing the magic he learned from Egypt. And what you also have to understand about why Jesus used the magic that he used, that he learned from Egypt, is you have to know the state of humans during that time and the states of humans during this time. Jesus had to win people over.
And the best way to win people over is to show them something miraculous they've never seen before. Can we all agree on that? If I, for example, he also studied Tantra in India, and the Dalai Lama came out and said that Jesus learned from there. The Dalai Lama said that. So can we all agree that in the Pisces age, especially in the age of Jesus, where those people were raping women and pillaging and everything was under religious law and the government and religion was one and the same and you was getting persecuted for just smelling weird and just anything. At that time, when religion was government and you literally had to be, for example, a Christian or you die. It's not go to jail. You had to be a Christian or you die. In that time, wouldn't it be smart for a person to try to convince people to follow him, to come to this light, to perform magic, to woo them, and them be like, you must really know something, because not a single priest in this has ever done that. That makes sense. We can all agree that in that time, and you can also parallel that time with today. Though I have the testimonies and proof and all of this of me enlightening people in 3 days, my miracles is different than Jesus' miracles. That's why I tell people, yes, I'm another Christ on the planet, but don't be expecting me to do what Jesus did, because Jesus did it already. My miracles is so powerful, I can get you to do it. I can teach you how to do the miracle. That's how powerful I am. Jesus, his goal wasn't teaching you how to do the miracle. His goal was being the miracle. Because that's what he had to do. Because at that point in time, he didn't have time to be a teacher of miracles. Go listen to the mystery school. Go to Egypt and go to the mystery schools to learn what I'm doing. Right now, I have to teach you that what they're doing is not right. Woo! I proved it. Follow me. Jesus quite literally didn't have the time to tell people how to do the walk on water and do the miracles and all of that. He didn't have the time to do that. Okay, class. In order to turn water into wine, you must do this. He didn't have the time to do that. He had to wake people up on the spot. Follow me. No, because I'm going to die, because the religion said if I don't follow the religion, I'm going to die. You follow me. Okay. It's that simple. If bro came to you right now and said, follow me, you said, who are you? He was like, zoom, follow me. You're going to be like, that. You ain't got to say nothing else. But me and Jesus are different. Yes, we're both Christ. My miracles is different. In the beginning of this life, this is another thing. People don't have to train their eye. And that's what the 3-day course does in the ebook. When y'all finish reading the ebook and y'all complete the 3-day course, y'all going to be master at miracles and be able to spot them. People have this idea that magic is miracles. Magic is not miracles. Turning water into wine and letting it go, that is magic. That's standard alchemy you learn from mystery schools. That is not miracles. Miracles is the unexplained. Miracles is the great resetter. Why do you think in the stories they say Jesus came back and channeled through a psychologist named Helen a Course in Miracles? If you know the story of A Course in Miracles, the story is Jesus came to a person who was a psychologist and told her, we made a deal lifetimes ago to make a book for humanity. This book is fire, yes. I teach you everything in this in 22 pages of my ebook, because that's how ages are supposed to go. The more you progress, the teachers are supposed to get wiser. Jesus taught me and taught all of us 365 days. That's what they say. Now the student that has became the teacher that has reached this in 365 days, they have to now be able to be in a position to where they can teach their students in less amount of time. Because God is so powerful and miraculous, God was like, Nadiie, I'm going to teach you how to teach all of this in 3 days. Exactly, evolution. So now you don't need to get A Course in Miracles, because that book came out in the 70s and the 80s. That book was for that time. Now we're in the new time. My ebook, our ebook, A God's Plan for Humanity, a message from the mountaintop, teaches you
Everything you need to know within 22 pages. A 3-day course teaches you how to do everything in 3 days. Now, my miracles is different. People don't have a trained eye with miracles, though. People don't recognize that when I spoke Jeff's name in the beginning of this live, and I was telling people who I am and that I did this in real life and that I do this in real life, and I'm not no internet teacher. And I said, the fact that I'm here is due to a person named Jeff Miller. And the moment I spoke his name, he popped up in the live. That's a miracle. Because what is a miracle? A great undoer. It brings you back to zero and says, choose again. Miracles are the unexplained. Miracles, they can't be performed, they are facilitated. Miracles, they pop up, you can't control them. I did not call Jeff before the live and said, come up at this particular time when I say your name. That's not how that works. It was a miracle. Magic is if I say certain mantra and your light starts flickering. That's magic. Miracles is if I'm talking and teaching and I'm not trying to mess with your light and your light start flickering because the energy is so powerful. Ari. Oh, Ari said, I got the book. I will see you soon in your mystery school. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Ari. We love you. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Ari done invested in her soul. So y'all, I'm about to go here and I'm about to pull up. Ari done invested in her soul. You lucky I ain't got the You lucky I ain't got that. But I'm gonna pull up the Wesley Huff, right? And I'm gonna try to find what he said. I'm gonna try to find what he said. But now I am with y'all. I'm just gonna try to find this. 3 hours. I'm gonna skip through it though, and yeah, I'm gonna restart the live because I am grateful for what has happened. Today was very powerful. We done saved some souls, as they say. We didn't really save y'all though. That's what they say. No, I ain't save you. All I did was guide you to seeing yourself as God sees you.
Because of the debate viewers who aren't speaking it as much as they're reading it. You got to figure out how to pronounce it as other manuscripts that we have. And these people discovered 1% of ancient Egypt. And you're probably going to die sooner than you want to, sooner rather than. What do you? Have you ever tried to think like what was the motivation to make something as great as the Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid?
All right, we're definitely going through here. We're gonna find it.
You know, right.
I gotta use my my mouse because I got the sensitivity fast, and I have a mouse built into the keyboard. But just so y'all see what I'm over here doing, I'm gonna find this.
World's oldest counter. That phrase that has the ability to change.
Okay, so there we go. This is much easier.
So exposed to their and understood. They can argue with X. So I just think
Let me see if there's
how old the earth is. I think that might
no, there's no timestamps. I'm gonna have to really go through it. Oh no.
But that question, the process of evolution, you have new and yeah. The Ames is in the John Rylands Library. I cut on who was saying this because Benson was John. So
Getting close.
This John Christian.
Oh, this. Oh. I gotta have the timestamp on deck for people. I love listening to Christian scholars because they it helps me debunk Christians because they don't even know their own religion because they'll be so surprised at what is said.
they well, high 50. The word, the development mind is intact. And historians very rarely disagree on the data and the evidence. It's the conclusions that you draw from that. But then there are some things that are just out and out false. And say on there that they're like, this is a mere person. Do you try to die? That they say they're talk about. This is not on the food ancient fact. Come to first. You think we're a level group like that Testament, like then you are probably from it with a donkey. So it's interesting. It's also Canadian. Yeah, I think taught and be conception of the day. I mean, a little. Yeah. All June Lucas, he's been both to writers of
We gonna find it.
Are expect that counter the rhetorical bull I did for the field ending not the doctrine. Worship a so humiliating to be crucified.
Okay, that's not the one. Let's see. Ain't no way that's the only clip. Yep, definitely gonna have to go through all of it. It was right in the middle.
But I ran for the relay. Yeah. 70 there. Good number right in. Hard. And the top one. So, yeah.
We do this.
And this is true for a lot of stuff.
Okay, we're gonna do winners.
Like the largest grouping of papyri literature in the world is the Oxford collection, which we get a good portion of our oldest manuscripts into the New Testament from. But if you go to Oxford and you look at Egypt was crazy because Egypt is, but as you know, and what we in terms of what was it was described as that as because it's trying to. You're in the people whole kind of worldview perspective of God, just all of and maybe I'm big, but that's interesting. So this is the modern birth. And chart of my divergence.
Man, this is that word. Thank God for subtitles. Gotta see when they're talking about Egypt as it relates to him. But it's very interesting listening to Christian scholars because they're historians, so they give you a lot of stuff like things about. They actually spoke on like Qumran and the Essenes, and I was surprised that even was brought up because the Essenes are the original people that taught Jesus. The Dead Sea Scrolls are the Essenes. So you can learn a lot if you just take out the Christian stuff and just look at the history aspect.
Of the original authentic. I mean, even something being a king. Further excavating.
Okay, right now they're just talking about language.
Yeah, like you can see the restorator talking about a like. Group whose lightning is chosen, that And part of their reasoning as to why they're like the chosen. That's what varies coming. Right.
Man, I wish there was a control F for videos. If there's a control F for videos, that would be so good.
The leap from out of working see and was read. That's the big family. And
I think we're getting close.
of ancient primate was capable of nations was a body that I don't like. So that's how he used weight and evolution. I can bring formation and that eat with these sound. No. Yeah, so on library matchup or on I this is like it's not what that the races you're quite a do you think it's right?
We are going to find it.
Ask me about the miracles in the body. Don't like forge the thousands on search behind.
Let's do
Just the universe itself, right? The ancient world didn't really have a problem with supernatural events. There is an ancient writer who mocks Christianity, and particularly mocks Christianity in saying that, of course, Jesus did miracles because Jesus had a childhood in Egypt. And he goes, all of those Egyptians are magicians anyways. So he just learned the magic when he was a child. So he actually confirms, incidentally, two things, that the narrative in the Gospels where it says that the Holy Family fled to Egypt during the reign of Herod, he corroborates that he actually thinks that happened, and that Jesus did miracles. He just attributes the miracles to Jesus being a traveling magician anyways. And, anybody who lived in Egypt knows some magic. That is what's really fascinating, that the month.
Okay, so we found the one clip, but there's actually more. This is just a clip. I gotta find out where in the time. So y'all heard that, right? But there's actually more to it, because he brought forth that in the history, in which what I said, in the history, people cared not about him doing magic. He was talking about the historical accounts of people caring more about him claiming to be the Son of God. That is what I'm looking for. But I see that I found the clip now. Where is it at? It's somewhere in here for the full thing, so I can just throw somebody a timestamp. Try 232.
Yeah, right. Yeah. As far as I understand it, he would have had to file a claim in a Canadian court.
Okay, hold on. But now y'all see a piece of it. You see a piece of it. You quite literally see a piece of him saying in the history, these people, they weren't surprised that he did magic, and they attributed his magic from the mystery schools in Egypt. There's a second part that at first he ended up cooperating with that, but then there's a second part where he was saying that the historical accounts is more people than just this one person he highlighted didn't care for the magic that he did, because people in Egypt did magic that came from the mystery schools. They cared more about him calling himself the Son of God. But you clearly see, so the fact, this is the funny thing, the fact that the fact that Ben said this didn't even get said at all was so hilarious to me, because I'm like, bro, he quite literally said it. But all right, so let me see. Let me see if anybody's in the comments. Oh wow, somebody actually did a transcript? Oh no! Oh wow! That, you know how this, another miracle. Rose, you still here? Didn't you just hear me say? You know, it would be good to do Control F on the video, and then miraculously, on a separate page, as I'm looking for it, a website pops up where I can do Control F. That is what a miracle is. Bro, the fact that somebody transcribed it, let's go! I just said that. That is what a miracle is. Because I just literally said it. Like, oh man, I wish I could press Control F on this video so I can find out exactly what I'm looking for. And then I open a new tab after a few failed search attempts. Randomly, this website just popped up. Here's a full transcription of the Joe Rogan and Wesley interview. Like, who does that? like it's not like an average thing for his interviews to get transcribed. Like, we're not gonna act like that's like a normal thing that happens. Most podcasts do not have transcriptions. But that's the miracle. We just portal shifted to a place where someone did. So that's good. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so there it is. So Jesus is mentioned 98 times. Let's do and eat. Okay, so let's do Egypt. Egypt was mentioned 33 times. So we can find it much more if we do Egypt. Okay. There it is. Here it is. Let's go. Okay, so I found that part. Now, I gotta find the second part. Okay. Okay, so we got that part. I know how to find that 25 on Egypt, and then now we're going to be looking up son of. That's mentioned 11 times. Claim is mentioned 18. Look up magician. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna definitely do that. Okay, so we got one that actually, one thing that, let me bring the screen down. So this paragraph highlights what I was speaking about. It's not in the same timeline of what I was saying, because this comes a little later. But the moral of this is him saying the people at the time cared more about his claims to be the Son of God and God himself, which is what I was saying. All right, now, magician, I'm just gonna say that. Magician. How many times mission? 3 times. Okay. 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 So it's even so what I concluded, because I only really cared about the one part. I just was trying to find all of them together. But oh, somebody's been calling me. I'm gonna get off soon. But I found it. So right after here. So right after he says okay. Let me go up. Okay, so right here, which proves what I said, right? Because you remember when Ben was like, oh, he ain't never say, Ben was like, he ain't never, Wesley Huff didn't ever say, that Jesus was a childlike magician. He ain't never said it. Y'all heard him say that, right? I'm like, you probably lying to me. Right here. There's multiple layers to it. Because I said 2 things that Wesley Huff said. I said, per the history, the historical accounts, that people didn't care that Jesus was doing magic because he went to mystery schools in Egypt and he learned that from Egypt, from the mystery schools in there. They cared more about him claiming to be the Son of God. That was what they cared about more, because people didn't claim that. Ben made it seem like what I was saying was a lie, and that Wesley Huff didn't say what I said he said, but quite literally, he says, yeah, and that, like a god, would let himself go through this, right? So, like, what are you talking about? He said, in fact, the ancient world, again, the ancient world. This is a Christian scholar, but what you have to understand about Christian scholars is they are historians first. So the reason why they're historians first is because they're trying their absolute best to verify and back their religion and say, oh, we're the best, right? So what they would do is they'll pull up all these facts and they'll say, look, and they'll bring all the facts around it and they'll paint a story to say, follow this religion. But when you actually look at the historical accounts they're saying and reviewing what the actual person is, for example, Yeshua, he of himself was not a part of a religion. In fact, he was going against the religious structures that was dominating as government. So it's either be a Christian or be like Jesus. And a lot of people, they were either forced to be Christians or they were just raised that way. But that's where you get the clear distinction. There's a big difference between a follower of Jesus and a follower of Christianity. And I'm so happy we get this transcript. I'm bookmarking this, because anytime I talk to somebody, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to be like, no. So look, quite literally, he said, in fact, the ancient world didn't have a problem with supernatural events. There is an ancient writer who mocks Christianity, and particularly mocks Christianity in saying that, of course, Jesus did miracles because Jesus had a childhood in Egypt. And he goes on, all those Egyptians are magicians anyways. And then he goes on to say, Wesley Huff, he says that, so he, as in Jesus, learned magic when he was a child. And that's what he was saying that ancient writer and all the other ancient writers that knew about Jesus was saying. And he goes on to say, so he confirms, because remember, that part that I told you was the history. That's why you should listen to Christian scholars or Muslim scholars or all these other scholars, right? You don't listen to these people just because of their religion or whatever. You listen to them because they're actual historians, and they will tell you things about history in context with spirituality. But what Christian scholars do, and what you would notice throughout the interview, is because Wesley Huff has this ego about Christianity, he will downgrade all these other spiritual perspectives and things, the same spiritual perspective that Jesus learned from. So he would downplay Egypt, but in the same breath not realize that across that whole ancient world, everybody says, go to Egypt to learn what Jesus did. But Wesley Huff of himself, because he's a Christian, and a lot of these other Christians, they can't fathom the fact that my Lord and Savior went over there to learn. Even though in the same breath, I'm going to go on to talk about what he said. So he says, so he actually confirms. So that word confirms indicates his Christian mind. So when you're listening to Christian scholars, Muslim scholars, any religious scholars, and this is how you get good at talking to Ben and stuff like that. Because you know how I was talking to Ben, and I got him to say agree with certain points. But you have to know, but when you're dealing with the religious people, there's certain triggers and traumas that they can't get over. So I can't bridge with him. I got him to say yes to some big things that a traditional Christian would not say yes to, as it pertains to me being the Son of God and me all this extra stuff. At one point he said yes, but then when he recognized he said yes, he still started to question me because he couldn't actually understand why he agreed to what I was saying, because facts are facts. So when Wesley Huff is saying, so he actually confirms incidentally that, incidentally, two things. The narrative in the gospel, so narrative just means the story, doesn't mean it's factual, it just says this is what the story says. He confirms that in the story, the Holy Family, Mary, all the brothers and stuff like that, they fled to Egypt. And he's saying the ancient world as a whole knew this about Egypt. And then I'm going to go on later to talk about how historians, and then because I'm going to make sure I highlight what is a Christian mind, so y'all don't be focused on it too much, and what is the history mind, what you should focus on. You have to be able to discern between the two. But he says, he confirms that they went to Egypt, and during the reign of Herod, and then he says he corroborates that he actually thinks that happened. And then he said that he also confirmed that Jesus did miracles. And what he's saying is, per the historical accounts across the ancient world, if what he is saying, because Wesley Huff said he did miracles, and he said, he goes on to say, he just attributes the miracles to Jesus being a traveling magician anyways. And anyone who lived in Egypt knows some magic. That's literally the transcript. That is literally what it says. Bring you up a little bit. No, you can't probably read it. And say it right here. So, and then the reason why this is important, right? Because my whole point is not saying that Wesley Huff is my point is not saying Wesley Huff said this, so because Wesley Huff said it is true. That's not my point. My point is Wesley Huff is a historian first. That's why I said that. He's a historian first, a Christian second. And as a historian, he says this. And this is where we go back and forth. He talks about how historians cross-reference information to find out what is more probable to be true. So he says, look, this is what he says. He says, so this historiographically, that's what it is, historiographically. This historiographically is, so when we do history, this is the point that I need everybody to understand this, so that I make sure I'm highlighting. He says, when we do history, we as in Christian scholars and historians, period, because you have to pass history classes and classes to be a historian before you can be a Christian scholar. He says, when we do history, it's an interference to the best explanation. So he's saying, and so there are probabilities of things that have happened in history where we can say, okay, there is a higher probability of an event happening and a lower probability of event A happening and a lower probability of event B happening. So the example I give, he gives an example. He was like, the example of Jonah being swallowed by the fish is like a low probability based on just history. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it did happen. It just says based on what we can prove. It's kind of like lawyers. History is kind of like the courtroom. It's just based on what we can prove, not based on what actually happened. So, he's saying there's no independent cross-reference sources. He says you don't have to have multiple attestation for a particular event. So the interesting thing about Jesus is that they have more evidence from different writings in the ancient world for his presence and stuff like that, right? So the point of this is to say, as a historian, you're never able to say what is 100% facts or 100% not facts. What you can do is you can say higher probability. Now, the way you find a higher probability, and if something is truly a higher probability, then you can say that it's facts. And the reason why you get there is you cross-reference the information with other people. So when Wesley Huff said, no, the ancient world, everybody of the ancients all agreed across multiple writings, across multiple scrolls, across multiple tablets, that people in Egypt did magic, and they had mystery schools, and that's what they was teaching over there. So because at that time, that's what beings in Egypt was learning, when Yeshua went there is no account of Yeshua performing the magic and miracles and in the level that he was before he went to Egypt. So now what Christian scholars do is they cross-reference these ancient writings that say, hold on, what did our Bible say? Our Bible said that he went to Egypt. Well, all of these people are saying that they're hearing this dude do magic, and there's a different name because they spoke different languages. But they cross-reference and find out the name is the what we in English call Yeshua, aka Jesus. And they say across ancient writings, there's many ancient writers that say there's talk about this dude that's performing all this magic, and I'm not really too amazed because anybody in Egypt does that magic, and he's in Egypt. So why are y'all so amazed? He came from Egypt. And then what Christian scholars say is light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. They're talking about Jesus. You say, why? How do you know they're talking about Jesus? They say, well, you look at the time, you look at who was renowned for doing the magic and stuff, and then you look at what else he says. He in the writers they would say this dude is also claiming to be the Son of God, which is crazy. Well, I don't know why he's doing the Son of God. Everybody hooting and hollering about these magic. It's not miracles, it's magic. But him being the Son of God is crazy. So the historians, they say, okay, per the writing, who is the only person at this time calling himself the Son of God? Bam. That's when they say that. Okay, Yeshua, Jesus, boom, bam. So what most likely they're saying, so there's a higher probability of Jesus being in Egypt. Why? Because the Bible says it. And all across all these ancient writers, they're all saying there's this crazy dude performing magic, calling himself the Son of God. And everybody is saying, well, everybody did magic in Egypt. So then, as a historian, you say, what is the probability of magic existing, especially in Egypt? Now, per the historian rules, a high probability. Why is there a high probability of magic existing? Because this writer, this writer, this writer, this writer, all ancient writers are saying that people from Egypt did magic. Ta-da! Magic is real. That is how you get it with history. So when I'm talking about the spiritual stuff, I'm like, no, this is really history. Because if you put on a historian mind, you can do the same process that historians do. Historians do low probability, high probability. There's a high probability magic exists because you can point out 5 ancient writers that's saying Yeshua, aka Jesus, came from Egypt, and anybody in Egypt does magic. Multiple. So it's a high probability because these ancient writers are known today because their writing was so renowned and truthful and so thought-provoking that people made sure to put them mainstream. So you have mainstream writers. These ancient writers saying this would be like Drake and Kendrick Lamar saying, yo, Nadiie did something wild. Then we will say there's a higher probability of magic existing, which it is. Case closed. I'm so happy God loved me. And I'm so happy God loved you to be with me as I'm figuring it out. Because I'm like, ain't no way you acting like that's not what it said because it's right there. So, in true fashion, sometimes you just got to say, I told you so. In true fashion. You don't say I told you so too much. But in some moments, I learned this from a teacher, and his name is Michael Murdaugh. He calls it own your victories. I learned, and Michael Murdaugh is another Christ-conscious teacher. He tells us, own our victories. When I was learning from him, one of the things I took away from all his teachings is own your victories. I don't care if you just tied your shoe. There was a time where you didn't know how to. I don't care if you cooked a good meal. There was a time where you didn't know how to. Own your victories. Don't confuse humbleness with withholding truth. In some cases, some truth has to be withheld. Not withheld for the sake of withholding. Some truth has to be withheld from the unqualified. Why? The worst thing you can do is pass knowledge down to someone that isn't going to use it. So the best thing you can do in that situation is not tell the person to begin. For example, my ebook, click link in bio to get it. It's going to change your life. If you know there's somebody out here that don't want their life changed and don't even aspire to have their life changed, don't give them the book. But if you know, even because I even told you, I even target atheists. I target atheists in a way that's different. I say, listen, you might not believe in God, but let me show you some power that you have that's within you. And then when they go through the course, then they recognize, yo, I got this power. And I'm saying, guess what? God, the source, gave you that power. So, yeah, I own my victory. I own my victory. I'm grateful. I'm happy, for real, for real. I am so happy. But yeah, one of my cousin called me. I'm gonna see what's up with him, and y'all witnessed it firsthand. So everybody, thank you for saying you're gonna get that book. I know you're gonna invest in your soul. Y'all been here with me. Y'all seen the miracles. Y'all seen all of this, and I know this live is pretty long, so I'm gonna take a little minute before I post it on my YouTube. But just know it will be posted. What book? Oh, Smooth. Oh, you're new. Okay, so Smooth. If you asking me what book, you missed everything that just happened in today's live. I am exhausted, but I'm so excited with energy. You missed everything. So, okay, Smooth. My voice is kind of hoarse. He said, no! Smooth, you missed everything. Bro, you missed the party hat. Bro, there was miracles that happened. Bro, you missed everything. But, Smooth, I'm going to post this live. Give me at least 2 days. It should be posted by the end of today or early tomorrow, but give me at least 2 days. This entire live to be posted so you can watch it. I'm going to post it on my YouTube. So click link in bio. But I have a book. God channeled through me an ebook smooth that literally will transform your life in 3 days. Let me give you my pitch. Like, I'm so out of it right now because so much happened. I'm just gonna read you my pitch, okay? The pitch is real. I am just so out of it right now, though, because there's just so much has happened, so many miracles. I know the people that was here seen it, but imagine going through it. Imagine you being next to the miracle. Like, I wouldn't say it's energetically draining, but it's draining from my body. To all this energy, I have to do a reset. I have to like meditate, ground. Like, I'm about to go by the river, but let me get myself professional in front of you, because you know, gotta get myself professional in front of Smooth. This is a God soul. I would like to change his life. Peace unto you. My name is Nadiie Black. I have been offered a message for humanity by God in the form of an ebook, July 1st this month. God told me to channel an ebook. I am not an author. I'm not trying to sell you a book for the sake of selling you a book. It's really like God told me to make this, and on the first of this month, and on the second day, the book miraculously got made. That is a miracle, because coming from a person that is not an author, how are you telling me that I made a book in 1 day? That doesn't happen without God. So if you click the link in the bio, you can get this ebook. Now, I help students and teachers on the spiritual path. I also help atheists who are seeking the unexplained power within from the ancient times. I also help humans who aspire to be like Jesus, Buddha, and Horus. I also assist soul spirits who aspire to be fully transitioned into God the Source, totally and fully reach their aspirations, goals, and enlightenment within 3 days. 3 days is all it takes, and I have the testimonies to prove it. If you click the link in the bio and you invest in your soul and get my ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity, A Message from the Mountaintop, you will see it when you click the link in the bio. Invest in your soul. If you read that book and you take the 3-day course that is included in that book, in 3 days, once you finish the 3-day course, your life will completely change. You will be enlightened. You will have the same, if not a better frequency than Jesus, Buddha, and Horus. You will learn magic. You will have lucid dreams. Everything will be at your disposal. Everything. In 3 days. And I have testimonies. So you don't have to just take my word for it, but I am a living testimony. I don't get to be in this position without applying the information I'm telling you that's in that ebook. But I have testimonies. If you watch my most recent video, I'll make sure I pin it to my page, but it's literally my most recent video. I give you the full pitch, and at the end of the video, I also have the actual testimonies. I made sure to include a testimony of somebody who was currently reading the book. They only got to 8 pages in, the end of page 7, and they just felt called to give me the review and testimony, because they're like, this is so transformational. They're like, my life has already changed. And then after that, I be sure to show you a testimony from 2 years ago from one of the students that has taken my 3-day course. Because the 3-day course that's within this ebook, God's Plan for Humanity, that God gave to me, is a course that I've been teaching for a long time. But when I included it, I inserted it within the book. It's like a different course. It's much more. So I made sure to include the testimony from 2 years ago of this person that took my 3-day course. And you see our conversation. We're in the Instagram DMs. And my student comes to me and she said, okay, I finished my 3 days is over. Yo, my life has changed. This is happening. I feel different. I'm seeing this. And then it was so life transformational for this student of mine that took my 3-day course. You see in the testimony, my most recent video, she was texting me multiple days, just like, hey, yo, I just gotta thank you again. Another day. Like, I gotta thank you again. Your miracles are just showing up in my life. All from taking my course. That's not even the book. That's just the course. Because remember, that the 3-day course, that testimony was from 2 years ago. But what I'm telling you is, when God told me to insert that final piece of the 3-day course into the book,
it's like something clicked, and now I have a way to fully enlighten you, not just in 3 days, but give you everything that you need that is required to be on the spiritual path, to go home to God, to be fully enlightened and resurrected in love within 22 pages. You don't need the Course in Miracles and all of this. You don't need all this fluff. You don't need this. You don't need all this fluff. This book was made in the 70s and 80s. It was for that time. Now, God has given me, and I'm very humble, the ability to give you everything that's in this book, plus more, full enlightenment in 3 days, with proof and testimonies. Because I've been teaching it to my students in my mystery school. Just the course alone, I've been teaching my students just the course. And the fact that we now have a whole book designed with and around the course, and on top of that, some of the most powerful information that's so revolutionary. Invest in your soul. Like, I was asking people, I don't know if you're still here, Smooth, but I was asking people, I was like, do you invest in your soul in the same way that you invest in your hunger? Do you invest in your soul in the same way you invest in your life? Some people were saying no. They were being honest, because let's be honest, we don't. So I'm like, this is the opportunity for you to invest in your soul. And Smooth, to emphasize that I'm not just trying to sell you no book or nothing. I'm really giving you something that actually works. Like, at this stage in our life, especially with the government doing what they're doing and all it is, at this stage in our life, we should be focused on things that work. I was telling people, look, I never aspired to be an author. I don't have a book before this, and I probably won't have a book after this, because this book is just that good. I aspire to be a musician. I'm a great rapper and a teacher. And to prove it, one, I don't have another book, which shows that, okay, he's not just trying to sell books, because that's not what he want to do. Two, I seen when the book was posted. It was posted on the 2nd. Yeah, he did complete it on the 1st, and it's done out on the 2nd. And then 3, I rap people one of the hardest verses you will ever hear, which I'll rap to you, Smooth, personally. This is like a personal. I'm trying to catch you up with what happened. But in the midst of all of this, miracles was happening. I was in a debate with the Christian dude. The Christian dude even started to say yes to some of the things that other Christians don't say as it pertains to me and my knowledge. It was lit. And then he started to fight with me, because he was like, hold on, why I say yes to that? No. Because he couldn't handle the truth. There was a lot going on, bro. But I'll rap you this verse so you know. And I can guarantee you, after you hear this verse, you can come to the conclusion like, yeah, he's not trying to sell me the book. He really trying to enlighten me. So the verse goes like, the pop out in effect and ain't no glasses, mind your busyness. Twist the knob, we gon' show them how hot it really gets. I've been hustling every day, dodging censorship, twisting the truth like lambs holler while wolves out innocent. So I'ma flex his pinky ring until my pinky hurt. I'ma show him it gets better before it gets worse. Nowadays you gotta put the candy with the tonic. Don't talk louder than the blunt or we smoking you first. I know some homies clutching like they hit a game winner and go back to mama house because she made dinner. Truthfully, I calm down the ones who sees red. But when it comes to the green, the pedal's always pressed. Oh, you getting triggered ain't worse than the trigger man. Crying about being broke ain't gonna get a ban. Hustle, don't stall. Kick out who crawls. We walk the walk. We don't care who is pissed off. That should let you know I am a rapper. I am not trying to be no author, because God gave me them cold lyrics. So this book quite literally will change your life. I cannot emphasize it enough. I have testimonies to prove it. My life has changed. I have over hundreds of students. It's like, this is a real thing. I did this in real life. I do this in real life. So yeah, click the link in the bio. Get the ebook titled God's Plan for Humanity. Your life shall change. With that being said, y'all, I'm gonna go live a little later. But I gotta go down by the river and wash my feet in that river water, ground myself, because
Not only did I get a lot of book sales today, because I'm going to trust y'all at y'all word, but remember, time isn't real. The fact that y'all said that y'all going to go buy the book, what you're really saying is you're going to invest in your soul and become enlightened. So now what you're actually doing, and people don't recognize how powerful what y'all doing is. When y'all say you're going to go get the book, you're actually adding feathers to my wings. So when I go back home and I transition out this body, God's going to be like, all my spirit team is going to be like, Nadiie, you did it. That's why I'm here, for this. And I hope and I pray, and whatever energies humans like to say, what we like to say is I send divine statements. So I send divine statements that after y'all get that book and y'all read it, please send me a testimony and review. You can DM me it. You can email me it. Just please send me it so I can add it to all the list of the testimonies to prove to people this works. I already have a few testimonies. I'm waiting for some more, but this book is quite literally titled God's Plan for Humanity. So if you're trying to really invest in your soul, if you're really trying to invest in your soul in the same way that you invest in your hunger, in the same way you invest in your life, if you know you haven't been investing in your soul in the same way you invest in your hunger, in the same way you invest in your life, go get that ebook. Click the link in the bio, get that ebook, change your life. And if you're a little hesitant, go watch my video and just my most recent posted video about the ebook. Scroll all the way to the end, look at those testimonies, and you'll be like, that boy changed his mama's life. This one person said this happened 2 years ago. So he's been doing this. So he's real. I'm real. I love you. Click link in the bio, get that ebook, spread the word. Tell everybody else to get the ebook once you finish it. Don't share the ebook until you yourself transform. But with that being said, we love you all. I'm going to go down by the river. Thank God that God gave me a home where the river is right across the freaking street. I'm going to go. I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do. I'm going to say exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to end this live. I'm going to call my cousin back, say my bad for taking so long. Once we get done talking, I'm going to rush to the river because he's probably going to pick me up so we can go watch some anime. I'm going to rush to the river, do some divine statements, ground myself because this energy is so high, put this deodorant on before I leave, and then go to my cousin's house. I love y'all. I don't know what anime we're going to be watching. I don't really watch anime. I only watch it at his house. But I love you. Peace.